Good evening, or good morning, or good afternoon, whenever you get around to this. Give me one moment. Gotta pull up the page and get there. However, we're going to go back to my little spot right here, and we are at www.h-net.org and humanities and social sciences online. Now, we're going to start by reading this review. I love it. Let me apologize. I was supposed to have got this popped off at 1 p.m. Got home from work this morning and I fell asleep when I got up late. So I still had to go take care of some business that I had to do. So now that I don't owe these people any more money for this little beater that I just bought, and I just took care of rent, everything is straight. But anyway, here we are today. We're worried about one thing. I told y'all, King Khan. What is King Khan? What does any of this mean? See, white heaven and this whole concept goes back to when I was first reading the book White Trash by one Nancy Eisenberg. Lovely read, and truly a beautiful read. You should read it and put your big boy and your big girl britches on and get ready for some uncomfortable moments. However, while reading White Trash, there was this reoccurring theme of the white man being able to sleep with the black woman at will, the half breeds, and the quarter breeds at will. So much so that you get this idea that a lot of the population of white people aren't really white the way that they claim they are. Furthermore, in that, the biggest part of the con, the ugliest part of the con. See, there are many men who will tell you that the white men went to great lengths and measures to make sure that their mulatto and half-breed children were going to go to nice schools, or they built schools for them. They built societies for them to live within the society. Now, later on, we're going to read about this thing right here called the tragic mulatto myth. Though it's not a myth, we're going to read about it. Now, we're going to do our best to make it through each one of these different websites. Some of these reads are super duper long, okay? Some of this stuff I looked at a while ago. Some of it I've just looked at as recently as earlier today. What I'm getting at is this. The white man claims through his history that he wrote, nobody else wrote it for him, that he took care of his half-breed children. But then there's other parts of history that say that, well, some of their half-breed children were thrown back on the plantation, and in a lot of cases didn't make it off the plantation to have seed. Hell, there's a lot of cases where their mixed breed sons, which is why they stopped putting them on the plantations, got beat to death. Got beat to death. Happened a lot more than you guys could ever imagine. Now, the con, once again, is to get us to believe that the majority of the mixed people that we see right now today, as well as all the way back then, come from the loins of Anglo people. Now, the reason why this makes me upset that you would even consider this to be even partially true, we're going to look at this also. We're going to look at this, the steep rise in interracial marriage, and also what's behind the rise of interracial marriage in the U.S. Don't worry, got a lot of different little things to go over. In between each one, I'm going to take it down. We're going to talk, and we're going to speak on the situation. I need y'all to understand, you are in white heaven. They have created their environment for them to thrive in. no white man wants to hear, just like black men can't stand to hear that the white man was forcing himself onto black women. And there were women who were willing to be his playmate in the bed. It hurts the white man even more to know that his white woman chose to go and fuck a black man who was a slave. Ooh, ooh. You don't think it was the white man who told his daughter to say that he raped you? Fuck out of here. You think the chick made it up on her own? The chick said, we're in love. Daddy said, love my ass. Anyway, let's pop to these little articles. This first one, it's kind of long, but it's doable. And it's one that we should hear about first because it's going to give. And before I read this article, let me read this out of the book White Trash. We're on page 195. We're in the very last paragraph, and we're going to start at the very first sentence. Hopefully you guys have been keeping up with your boy these last, I don't know how long I've been going about genetics. Even though I haven't talked about them directly in a while or pointed out anything specific. Listen to this. Eugenists, who obviously come from the brainchild of one Francis Galton, cousin of Charles Darwin, were divided over the role women should play in the national campaign. Some insisted that they remain guardians of the hearth. This ideal coincided with the traditional Southern ethos that asserted and middle-class women possessed a natural aversion or dislike to associating with black men. Now, I've always used this line as that means the exact opposite. That means the exact opposite. Now let's keep it pushing. We're going to read this article. I want you to understand. The eugenics didn't pop off till the 1900s. This is before Francis Galton was even born. Okay? This might even be before Gregor Mendel. Well, let's keep it pushing. In 1800, a minister of the Gloria Dei Church in Philadelphia refused to marry an interracial couple. A Negro came with a white woman, he wrote. I referred him to the Negro minister. Stop right there. Unless that Negro minister is a half-breed himself, he means a Negro. Not willing to have blame from public opinion, having never joined yet black and white. Nevertheless, these frequent mixtures will soon force matrimonial sanction. Now, unless he's talking about just black and white in general, I think black men and white women have been going for a long fucking time. I'm trying to break it down to y'all as to why black men are so comfortable dating white women now. Not only do a lot of these dudes have a white woman in their bloodline, more than likely, right on, I can speak to this. But the ones who know it, some of them are all too happy about it. And some of them, like myself, are all too sad about it. But why this is so important. 1800, y'all. It's 219 years ago. Now let's keep on reading. What should we make of this comment? Which suggests that marriages across the color line were not unimaginable during the early 19th century, despite virulent racial prejudice and legal prohibitions. It is hard to believe that only a generation ago that the Supreme Court invalidated state laws prohibiting racial intermarriage. At the time the court issued its 1967 Loving versus Virginia decision, 16 states barred marriages across racial classification. Altogether, 41 states at some point enacted anti-miscongeniation laws, which is anti-interbreeding laws. Legal change, however, has now unleashed dramatic transformations in marital patterns. In the 1990 census showed 1.1 million non-Hispanic black-white couples, up from not quite 1 million in 1980 and 321,000 in 1970. What? In many cases, these interracial unions are second marriages and do not produce children. And many interracial marriages involve African or Afro-Caribbean partners and not native Black Americans and not native born Black Americans. Did you hear that? This is why Marcus Garvey was married to a white woman. Okay, I'm trying to break it down to y'all. Peep game. All right. That's why a lot of these dudes who aren't from here can tell you, oh, go other places, be with other women, because they already have a natural affinity for it. I'm gonna call it a natural aversion though, because I like that better. I like this. It's an oxymoron. Of course, they can't have a natural dislike for it, even though they feel disgusted with themselves, and they claim that those marriages don't normally end up with children, but that's because they're bringing children to that next union, because they come from an already interracial couple. Anyway, King Khan has everybody believing that he was knocking down all kinds of Black chicks. Got niggas thinking that everybody got a white granddaddy somewhere, and they don't. The people who have white granddaddies know that. They know it, and their family talks about it. Man, I've met so many Black people with white grandfathers. It's crazy. But I've met a lot more from the turf and got no white people in their family. At least that they know of. And normally when you don't know of people like that in your family, they don't exist. Almost never do they exist. Let's keep it pushing. And a provocative, deeply researched study, which won the Allan Nevins Prize, and I'm not sure exactly what that is, I didn't look it up. Martin Hodes tackled one of the most explosive and potentially sensationalistic subjects a historian can address: interracial sex between Southern Black men and white women, drawing on the remarkable range of legal testimony, personal diaries, and private correspondence. She persuasively argues that the late 19th century witnessed an abrupt shift in the South's treatment of such relationships. White antebellum white Southern society did not condone such liaisons. It did exhibit a limited degree of toleration, a toleration that fashioned following the Civil War. White Southern men saw their monopoly of political power challenged, and the cotton economy collapsed. Although concentrating on the 19th century, Hodes wisely begins her book at an earlier time. Come on! Describing a marriage in 1681 between an Irish servant named Eleanor Butler and a Black slave named Charles. This ceremony, presided over by a Catholic priest and attended by a number of prominent planters, was conducted with an openness and unimaginable in the 18th century, when the lines between white servants and Black slaves had hardened. Man, y'all don't know what kind of curveballs I've been keeping in the pocket. First off, let me just come and greet everybody real quick. All right, let me kill this for half a second. I'm gonna get right back to this. Man, I'm so hot. I'm so hot. A nigga been telling the truth this whole time, and cats really think I've been lying, y'all. They really think I've been lying about this shit. I'm telling the truth. Okay? I'm telling the truth, the God honest truth. I'm gonna get right back to it. But I'm just letting y'all know that I have not been lying. White Heaven, King Khan is a cold ass one. This shit is cold, y'all. This shit is so cold. All right? They don't even want you to think that this took place. Look how obscure this is. Why is nobody else talking about it but me? All the other people who have actual large followings and bases, these people speak on the subject as if white men just ran rapid. If there were slave rebellions, how the fuck could these dudes accomplish all the? Once again, King Khan is a vicious motherfucker, man. But I'm back to sharing the screen and reading to y'all. This is crazy. But I just wanted y'all to really see, like, it's not what they say it is, man. You know what I mean? That's what really happened. Share. Yeah. Okay. The marriage between Iris Snell and Charles was not wholly isolated event. Catherine Mary Brown, J. Douglas Dill, Philip J. Schwartz, and Lorena S. Walsh have demonstrated that the taboo against interracial sex was not nearly as universal in early America as scholars like Winthrop Jordan assume. On 17th century Virginia's Eastern Shore, two marriages took place between free black men and free white women in the 1650s, and three more in the 1660s. In addition, one slave married a white woman, and at least half a dozen slaves fathered mulatto children by white maidservants during the 1680s and 1690s. Are y'all hearing me? Walsh concludes that the unions of black men and white servant women was usually consensual, unlike many of the women's relationships with white men. Oh, what is that saying? That the white dudes is out there taking the pussy, excuse my language, and black dudes are getting it gave to them. Let me just keep reading. I don't mean to be foul or vulgar, but these motherfuckers got me on one, y'all. Y'all don't even understand. King Khan is the dirtiest motherfucker ever. And we're in white heaven. Because only in white heaven could you tell this story the way that they've told it and it be believable. Only a fool would believe it, though. Walsh concludes that the unions of black men and white servants were usually consensual, unlike many of the women's relationships with white men. She notes, for example, that only a handful of white women presented in the court for bearing illegitimate children accused black fathers of rape. And you know who those women were? Those were the daughters of the slave owners. Can you dig it? But she's not gonna identify that because she don't want to put them on Front Street. I'm trying to break it down to you guys. Now understand the Civil War. Understand that I told you that the Civil War was meant to get rid of these motherfuckers. Man, I'm a cold nigga if I ever met one. Come on, let's keep it pushing. After 1700, sexual relations between Southern black men and white women occurred less frequently, or at least much less publicly. Stop right there. Stop right there. Right. The atmosphere had changed so much. Right? The atmosphere had differed so much that I could argue a lot of what niggas try to say about black women being bed witches comes from shit like this. I'm not going to put that out there as a fact, but I'm just going to bring that to mind. Let me go ahead and keep it pushing. Nevertheless, such liaisons continue to exist. In a remarkable job of detective work, Hodes mines bastardy and divorce cases for information about interracial sex and finds a surprising number, including 4 divorces in Virginia, 2 in North Carolina, granted to white husbands whose wives bore mulatto children. In one 1824 case, an elderly man named Lewis Byrne unsuccessfully sued for divorce, claiming that his much younger wife was involved in a 7-year relationship with the local slave. Right. The white dude is like this. I'm trying to tell y'all, man. Fuck, listen to a nigga and please, heed what I'm saying to you. King Khan is a vicious motherfucker. This is the gorilla at the top of the building. I'm the jet fighter blasting this nigga in his chest, in his face. I'm gonna dead his ass off the top of the building, and he gonna fall with the white bitch in his hand. Can you dig it? The court apparently concluded that Byrne had failed to adequately control his wife's behavior and denied his petition. Stop right there. They said, bro, you feel me? You were slacking on your macking, big dog. The fuck out of here. And he could have had his own mulatto children, which is why she might have done that. Man, there's no telling. But notice that they call the children of white women and black men mulattoes also. So this is why I try to tell y'all that when you put in the word mulatto and it says and it imposes imposes upon you that it must be a union between a white man and a black woman, that is erroneous. Come on, let's go ahead and do it. The next year, a poor North Carolina woman named Polly Lane accused a slave named Jim of rape. Although Jim was quickly found guilty of the charge, the discovery that Polly was pregnant prior to the alleged rape led to the court to reopen the case and ultimately acquit Jim. Right. A slave was simply too valuable a capital asset to execute under such circumstances. Look, do you know how much money this nigga's worth, bitch? First off, you gave him the pussy. Now you're talking about he raped you because your daddy or your brothers are like, you better say that nigga raped you. Come on, man. I told y'all already what the story was. I've been telling y'all already, but way before I even found this type of stuff on the internet, I was telling you guys this. Okay? So it's not like I made it up. This is a woman who did the detective work. She did the real footwork. I just know it. But her footwork is a vindication to a nigga. And you know she's a white woman, and she probably been letting black dudes run through her whole life. This shit is crazy. Anyway, man, let me just keep it pushing. Holt's overarching argument is that sexual liaisons between white women and black men were not always met with violent outrage in the South. Before the Civil War, Southern law could tolerate a liaison between a white woman and black man. Indeed, communities showed little concern about such liaisons until they resulted in pregnancy and childbirth. Only when Southern white patriarchs began to fear the potential political and economic power of newly autonomous black men after the Civil War did the issue of white men's sexual purity into the realm of politics. Come on, they said, look, I told y'all. They started the Civil War to kill the fucking mulattoes, and this is facts that these niggas are supporting me. Thank you. I am filthy. I don't need a nigga to tell me that. I know I'm filthy. I do this shit, y'all. 10 toes the fuck down, rubber on the pavement every time, even if niggas don't understand me. Only when Southern white patriarchs began to fear the potential political and economic power of newly autonomous black men after the Civil War did the issue of white men's sexual purity into the realm of politics. Only then did violent intolerance replace an uneasy toleration. This is a fascinating argument, but it is not the only interpretation that can be drawn from the evidence. Holtz tends to link attitudinal shifts to the evolution of the institution of slavery. It is the solidification of chattel slavery in the late 17th century that ends an earlier period of relative flexibility in sexual relations by making racial lines more salient than class lines. Later, it is the collapse of slavery that creates a newfound urgency and the taboo of sex between black men and white women and brings about a shift from uneasy white toleration towards increasingly violent intolerance. An alternate interpretation makes 2 points. The ideologies of racism have changed in dramatic ways over time, and that specific groups have shaped the definitions of and legal controls over illicit sexuality. Since the 17th century, efforts to stigmatize, criminalize, punish miscongeniations have reflected the interests of groups of specific people. The interests of specific groups of people who formulated new ideologies, enacted legislation, and actively propagated their racist viewpoints. As J. Douglas Dill had convincingly argued, while blacks in the early 17th century were treated differently from whites from the very beginning, racial prejudice did not evolve into a coherent ideology of racism until later. Early anti-miscongeniation statutes, like the 1664 Maryland law enslaving the children of English women who intermarried with Negro slaves, reflected the attitudes of the most politically active segment of the planter elite attitudes, who were only gradually absorbed by many other whites. Similarly, in the late 19th century and early 20th centuries, lynching, supposedly to protect the purity of white womanhood, was in fact inextricably tied to efforts to suppress populism and interracial labor activities. From the anti-abolitionist mobs of the 1830s that raised the specter of racial amalgamation to the Northern Democrats who coined the term miscongeniation and accused Republicans of favoring racial intermarriage to the post-World War I nativists. Listen, the Democrats accuse Republicans of favoring racial intermarriage. Did you hear that shit? to the post-World War I nativists who enacted the anti-miscegenation statutes that the Supreme Court overturned in 1967. Remember that John D. Rockefeller and the Rockefellers are Democrats. Let's keep it pushing. Miscongeniation was a highly emotional subject that could be exploited and manipulated for a variety of social and political objectives. All its breadth, white women, black men does not claim to cover all aspects of the topic of miscongeniation. For one thing, Hodes explicitly omits Louisiana and South Carolina on the grounds that these states recognize an intermediate class between blacks and whites. In addition, Hodes primarily, though not exclusively examines interracial sexual liaisons that made their way into courts. Additional studies need to be conducted on people of mixed race ancestry. Right. Even though the United States is a society with rigidly delineated racial categories, or practice racial boundaries tend to be blurrier than the categories presume. A number of recent works underscore this point. In their recent study of free black communities in the North, James Oliver Horton and Lois E. Horton uncover a working class culture in which interracial fraternizing, drinking, and sexual relations were not uncommon. In a recent dissertation, on the 19th century Southern miscongeniation laws, Charles Robinson III found that appeals courts frequently overturned miscongeniation convictions after concluding that it was impossible to classify the defendant's race with precision. He also shows that interracial liaisons might last for years before entering the legal system, and that the court cases were precipitated by property and inheritance disputes. Listen, we break down what he was just talking about, really. He was saying that mixed people from black or white mothers were trying to claim shit, and this is one of the things that it was just talking about. These dudes were becoming, they could claim, they're like, well, I'm not full black, I'm half white, so you can't call me full. Right, you see what I'm saying? You see how dangerous it was? And that's why they was like, fuck that. And that's why they started the Civil War. Anyway. Neil Foley shows how Mexican Americans in Texas attempted to emphasize their whiteness in order to advance their economic and political interests. Did you hear that? Neil Foley shows how Mexican Americans in Texas attempted to emphasize their whiteness in order to advance their economic and political interests. Because they're talking about, we're Spaniards. We're not really like this. We come from Spaniard seed. But let me just go ahead and keep it pushing. While not minimizing the Negrophobia that accompanied 19th century democratization, these studies do not suggest that while Americans are colorblind in the sense that they see the world solely in black and white, racial identities have often been more complicated than this dual system of categorization suggests. Today, the moral issue raised, no, it doesn't. Look, either they think they're black or they think they're white. You got a dark-skinned Mexican, almost as black as you, with curly hair, knowing he got some Negro ancestry, talking about he's white. Come on, man, that shit is sickening. Let's keep it pushing. The ones who are actually white, yeah, they should claim that they're white because you look like a white person. It only makes sense. But the ones that don't look white shouldn't even trying to do that. But there was mixed people back in the day with dark skin who were like, I'm a white man. I think like a white man. I act like a white man. I want to marry a white woman. You see what I'm saying? You follow me? And this is why you have so many of these dudes right now who have for years and years and years dealt with black. I always like to think that a lot of these guys who have their aversion supposedly is supposed to dislike these people and hate them, but for some odd reason they really don't. I love that word. Their aversion didn't keep them away from nothing. In fact, it only drew them closer. So their natural aversion to the black man only made them more intrigued, I guess. It made them want to lay up with them and then accuse them of rape. So understand that this accusation of rape didn't start with fucking Polly Purebred after the Jim Crow laws. It started way before that. But we're going to read this last paragraph and then we're going to chop it for a second. Today, the moral issue raised by the Supreme Court's Loving decision has returned to the nation's political agenda. If marriage is, as the court declared, the single most important expression of a person's right to pursue happiness, but it's not, should there be any restrictions on who consenting adults can marry? Yes, there should. While Holt's powerful and moving book does not directly address this issue, it does underscore the ways that throughout American history, certain groups have manipulated sexual phobias in order to obtain broader political objectives. Right. I'm going to copy this. Don't worry. Copy. We're going to stop sharing. And I'm going to put this in the joint for y'all to have. It's going down. Don't worry. I love it. This is my shit. Y'all can go back and read this whenever. You can look for all the different links. Whatever. You know. Give me a few moments. I'm going to hop to... another one that's a little more off-brand. But it's going to talk about how white women... My alarm. It's going to talk about how white women prospered on the economy of slavery. And the article is called The Mistress's Tool. We gonna pop that. I know that shit was crazy, sister. That's what I'm saying though. Like, why does nobody want to hear what your boy is laying down? I'm trying to explain the atmosphere for us right now. Like, nobody else is doing that. They listen to what white people say and just they let the white people talk for them. Like, I still have my own mind. I read all that and I still know what I believe is still what I believe. You're not going to change what I believe just because you wrote something down and all these people say it. She couldn't go into the details in a review about the characters that may or may not have been identified in that book. And I may just have to, go and swoop that book up to check it out. But the problem is that King Khan, the white man, in white heaven, the dirty bastard that he is, he's been able to achieve this mystique within the black community, right? Where people really believe that he's been able to impress his way upon black women at will, and that black women just melt like butter for the white man. When I know a lot of black women that really actually are repulsed by white dudes. Like, I hear what they say and I'll be like, damn, that's kind of fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, but I would rather her feel like that than to ever even give this dude a chance in a day, is how I'm thinking. Because they're all the devil, as far as I'm concerned. Until they show me that they're not the devil, they're the fucking devil. I don't care what nobody says. King Khan's so vicious. The only records they left of white women fucking black dudes were maidservants and mistresses. Okay? Because they don't want nobody understanding that the daughters, okay, the nieces, the wives of slaves owners, okay, were going out there and allowing for black men to impregnate them. All right? And when they could use these mulattoes, right, as a weapon before the Civil War, everything was all good. But after that change, after it was different, it was no longer any good. So life becomes a major thing. You know what I'm saying? It's somebody, this dude keeps sending stuff to my phone, irritating. I had to shut that down. But anyway, white heaven, King Khan. Do y'all really see who we're dealing with right now? We're dealing with the person who it said right there. It said to you that there wasn't a real shift until after this, until after the Civil War. Wow. Right. So, and then you guys heard how they said a slave was just far too valuable to execute under, certain circumstances. It just no, you can't do that. Can't do that. You know, it's just one of those things. It's just one of those things. People don't even appreciate it. But as I get ready to get off this little high horse that I'm on, I'm gonna go to the white. Now, do I want to go to that one next? I'm talking about one of these interracial ones. I think I'm going to do the steep rise. I think that's where I'm going. And I just want y'all to understand that everything I just read to you is a preface, okay, to what's going down. It's a preface. Here we go. Bam, boom, bang. This one's short, not a whole lot to it. The other one is kind of short too, so I'll probably knock that one down. People hate me. Oh well, you know. That's why I did the sleeping with the enemy on my other channel. You know, I love that shit. That shit is gangster as fuck. People don't even know. I love it. Hide that from the something. Alright, niggas little. What's behind the rise of interracial marriage in the U.S.? This is the Guardian, right? Obviously, you know, you can only take these types of things with a grain of salt, but you have to realize there are beyond micro levels of truth and all these things. And I need to stress what I was just reading to you. It said that the relationships between white women and black men, as versus white women and white men, were normally consensual. This is madness. It's madness. It's crazy. But let's just go ahead and keep it pushing. So we're gonna look at this. Let's just gauge, like, you know, this is 1967, Loving, you know what I mean, Virginia, and it's obviously has white people, right? Because this is how who's the author of this? Maybe this chick right here. Who knows? Mona Chalabi, right? With the mixed breed looking thing, or you know, something that a white person might have produced from their loins. Now look, let's just look. Other interracial, right, is the largest group, and that could be anything from just people who are not any of these races in particular, and you know, so mixed race and black and Asian, blah 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 blah, white and Hispanic and Asian, and non-white Hispanic and white Hispanics. You see what I'm saying? Like that could be that group. But I want y'all to look. You see this color right here? This is the white and non-Hispanic. I want y'all to notice how small that group still is. Okay, white and non-white Hispanics. It's the small group. It's the white and black. Right? That's this one. I want y'all to look. I want y'all to look and see how non-existent they tried to say it was. Right? And look how large it is now. And you could argue it's as big as this one, maybe slightly smaller than this one, smaller than the ones on the ends for sure. But the white and white Hispanics, largest group. See what I'm saying? Want to know why? Because they just told us that the fucking dirty bastards down south were trying to prove that they were trying to prove their whiteness forever, and they're still trying to prove it. But a nigga just wanted to point all these little things out to you, so that way you can see it for yourself. Now we're gonna not get too carried away with this, right on? Because I don't want to get too into it, but we're gonna have to read it. I'm just gonna read it. I'm not gonna get. I'll do my best not to break off to the side. It's been half a century since the U.S. Supreme Court decriminalized interracial marriage. Since then, the share of interracial and interethnic marriages in America has increased fivefold, from 3% of all weddings in 1967 to 17% in 2015. The Loving versus Virginia ruling was a clear civil rights victory. But Anna Holmes reflected in a recent article for the New York Times understandings who benefits from that win and how much is a more complicated story. For a start, there's a huge geographic variation in which intermarriage happens. It's more common in metropolitan areas than rural places, 18% compared to 11%, according to the Pew's analysis of the Census Bureau's figures. But at those averages, U.S. metropolitan areas are very significant. Are U.S. metropolitan areas vary significantly from Honolulu, Hawaii, 42% of interracial, to Jackson, Mississippi, where the figure is just 3%. Overall, the most common type of interracial marriage is a partner who is white and one who is Hispanic of any race. You see that? You see how they do that? Because they don't give a fuck. They just put white people there. Anyway, even though they're the least numbered people as far as like actual total population, they don't outnumber anybody. So why they're the fucking group that you monitor doesn't even make sense. But let's just keep it pushing. Overall, the most common type of interracial marriage is a partner of a white and one who is of Hispanic of any race. Those relationships accounted for 38% of all interracial marriages in 2010. White Asian couples accounted for another 14%, and white black couples made up 8%. Now, I want you to understand black men and white women, okay, are a bulk of that 8%. Holy fuck. You can't just start a trend. This shit has to have been going on for forever. So I tried to point. That's why I pointed it out too. Man, anyway. All right. Okay. There are gender patterns in the data too. In 2008, 22% of black male newlyweds chose partners of another race. Holy fuck, that's almost a quarter. This compared to 9% of black female newlyweds. Listen to what I've been saying to y'all. Even if women outnumber you 2-1, listen to what I'm saying. Even if black women outnumber black men 2-1, right? And you look at that and you wanted to say, well, really, okay, so her 9% is really like it's like 18% of the men. Still, men would still be outdoing them by a whole 4%, even if you looked at it from that range. But that's not the case, man. Anyway, the gender pattern is opposite among Asians. While 40% of Asian females married outside their race in 2008, just 20% of Asian male newlyweds did the same. For whites and Hispanics, though, Pew found no gender differences. These numbers are completely a simple matter of love. There are consequences of economic, political, and cultural factors. To list just a few: attitudes, plain racism. While 72% of black respondents said it would be fine with them if a family member chose to marry someone of another race, of an ethnic group, 61% of whites and 63% of Hispanics said the same. More specifically, Americans aren't comfortable with specific kinds of intermarriage. A Pew survey said that they found acceptance of out marriages to whites 81% higher than the acceptance of out marriages to Asians 75%, Hispanics 73%, or blacks 66%. Right. So black people are the least favorite people to get married to for all these motherfuckers. So they want to get somebody but it's not a black person. But they want to fuck a black person. Migration patterns. The Census Bureau provided the following examples: the removal of many American Indian tribes from their original lands to reservation lands, talking about indigenous people, Aboriginal people who look just like black people, however. Historically higher proportions of Hispanics living in the Southwest, historically higher proportions of Asians living in the West, all of which shape where intermarriages happened and between whom. Availabilities of partners, systematic incarceration of young black men together with the higher death rates contributes to the fact that black women are less likely to get married than women of any other race or ethnicity in the U.S. This, together with higher black unemployment rates, means that black individuals make up a relatively small share of marriages, including intermarriages. I'm just trying to tell you that black people don't marry out like that. And when it said that I need y'all to understand when it threw out that 22%, it has to be talking about a specific number of black people, but black men in particular. Let's just go ahead and break it on down. A guy who's so happy with his Middle Earth thing. People with a higher education attainment are more likely to intermarry. This affects geographic patterns too. Areas with higher educational attainment are more likely to have more interracial couples living there. Since you're here, fuck you guys. We're not giving you nothing. Let me go ahead and this one. Let me see what this other one, how long this one is. Because it's about to go down. You know, a lot of reading, but I don't want to read too much before I get it all in. Okay, this one's not too bad. And it's good because it has the white guy with the little, she's probably half, you know, if not half, close to half. You know, and they call this an interracial marriage, you know. And he looks embarrassed in the motherfucker. I can't wait. I can't wait for y'all to see this picture. This white boy looks super embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? Give me 1 second. Oh, I love it. And this is what, you know, they consider interracial. Yeah, y'all gotta understand. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Tried to do that bullshit just then. I don't know why I did that. There we go. I love it. Look at this guy's face. Look at this dude's face. Look at his face, y'all. Look at his body language. He's completely uncomfortable. Her, she's not as uncomfortable, but she's slightly uncomfortable. He's completely perturbed. Right on. But she's just like, she has that look on her face like, I made my bones with the fact that I fuck an old white man. Right on. And he looks like he's completely embarrassed. But that's just how it is. Portrait of a Native American, part of Native American, part black woman. Right on. Right. Anyway, this is the so-called black woman, Loving versus Virginia. Okay. All right. This is them. This is that sorry ass chick and her sorry ass. But he doesn't even his look at him. These are the people. She's not black. Holy fuck. I don't give a fuck whose feelings are hurt when I say that. If you look like that, you're not black to me. You're mixed. Get the fuck over it. If you call yourself black and identify, I hear you. Solid, all that shit. But more so than that, Meech looks like a nigga. I get treated like a nigga. So I'm not trying to hear that. And King Kong got you motherfuckers thinking that this is who he was comfortable with 300 years ago, 400 years ago. One of these things. Not one of your, man, get the fuck out of here. Anyway. Close to 50 years after interracial marriage became legal across the U.S., the share of newlyweds married to the spouse of a different race or ethnicity has increased more than 5 times, 3% to 17%. All the shit is the same. We're going to keep reading. Listen, Mildred Loving, a part Native American woman, part black woman, and Mildred, is that her name? Yeah, Mildred and Richard Loving, a white man. Right on. Landed in a county jail for getting married. Today, 1 in 6 newlyweds marry someone outside the race, which appears to allude to more accepting society. Bullshit. Among adults who are not black, there's a shrinking share of those who say that they oppose to someone of a close relative marrying someone who is black. From 63%, so 63% of them said fuck that, to just 14% now. You gotta understand, most of the racist ones died, dog. 1990 to fucking 2006, that's 26 years. You know how many of those racist motherfuckers died? Anyway, Don't believe the data, man. Don't believe the fucking hype. The share of people who oppose marriages with Asian or Hispanic people has also dropped from about 1 in 5 to around 1 in 10 adults, blah, 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 blah. We're going to skip all this bullshit. More than a quarter of Asians and newlyweds marry somebody out their race, blah, 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 blah. It's all the same bullshit. It's all the same bullshit. Right on? But I need y'all to see that. Oh, that will be the next one. But this one's gonna take a little while. So I'm gonna take a little break and drink some water. And just freestyle for a second. Oh my goodness. I'm not really caring about nobody. Y'all over here, look, I'm glad y'all having a good time. I'm glad y'all having a great time. You know, I just be talking, but I really do feel some type of way when I be, you know, seeing this stuff. This shit is crazy. This shit is so crazy. It's like, this is the gorilla that's been beating his chest. Tell me the picture wasn't cold, though. Tell me the picture wasn't vicious. And tell me this not the gorilla that's on top of the building, going crazy, getting shot in his face. I'm the nigga in the jet plane blasting King Kong in his face, okay? King Kong's going down. He's a big, ugly, white gorilla, okay? Holding an even uglier, fat, white bitch. Falling off this motherfucker. He's done. Can you dig it? I'm dusting him once and for all. Because I don't want to hear this shit the way that these niggas talk about it. I want them to watch this, right, like they do, and then take a humble pill and realize you're tripping. And for you to call the seed of a white man black, nigga, I'll cut your head off. I'm black. My daddy's black. All the men that are in my father's line are black. All the men that are in my mother's line are black men. Like I said, some people have made choices with the women that they've laid with. But as they would say, look at me now. Can you fucking dig it? Because I look authentic in this bitch. So, for all those cats who feel some type of way, that's why I can say what I say about my son. Because I speak the truth. They're telling lies. They're telling lies. They want black men to think that they've never, ever, ever been chosen in this society by the women that aren't from this society. Look, I don't want to get nobody snatched up in a little black van, but you know I got to go in. You know, got to go in. They shouldn't flag this shit. I ain't said nothing too crazy yet. I haven't said anything too off the wall just yet. But the more of this potion I put in my body, the more liable I am to go all the way in. See, this has been some crazy shit. For me, in less than an hour, we've totally obliterated the lie. That's a lie. I could use those 2 little websites, the 3 little websites, or how many websites it was, and use the first information that I first had to bolster my argument, and then they have a hard time saying anything. But oh well, no, bro, slow it down. Before there was a Loving versus Virginia, there were black men who only had one name, a one name dude with one name. Okay, all right. His name is Charles. His name is Jim. His name is Red. He only has one name. All right, but don't worry though, because he got a white woman with 2 names, and the baby gonna have 2 names. So when they try to tell you that black people got all their names from their slave owners, that's not true. I'm trying to break it down to you right now. Do you understand? King Khan is a dirty fucking bastard. Yeah, Fifth Element, where they make Chris Tucker play a faggot. I remember that. I remember that. Yeah, that was the movie that was supposed to have. If you wanted to say that Mila Jovovich ever really got super famous, she didn't. She kind of got a little on. It's the movie that put her in there. I remember that movie. Yep, I remember that movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, made Chris Tucker a straight faggot. My potion. I don't want to advertise nobody, but since you asked, I do like R&R, and this is Jack Daniels. This is the honey, you know, that Tennessee honey. I'm gonna hold on to these other two for later, but I'm leveled out. Don't worry. I haven't got once again. I ain't said nothing crazy to nobody, or about nothing. I just been telling the truth. I haven't, and nothing I've said is out of bounds. And I've been saying this stuff for a long time, y'all. This is why I'm like, what does it take? Does it take people seeing it with their two eyes? I don't give a fuck, bro. They can kiss my ass, bro. They can do whatever they like. You feel me? But I hear you though, Martin. They can kiss my black ass. Where's your wrench at? Here you go. You should have been modded. There we go. It's fixed. Everybody, once again, I like for everybody that I deal with to have the ability to regulate on unwanted company. It's been a long time since somebody unwanted really came around. So uh let me touch this next one. I'm a jabber jaw for just a couple more seconds, and then I'm gonna touch this next one, which is the tragic mulatto myth, right? And then we're gonna talk about white women who prospered on the on slavery and stuff like that. And I just want to talk about how once again people might not want to hear what I'm gonna say. I'm like, but these are the type of chicks who would lay up with black dudes, fall off the scene for a whole year, have her baby, claim that one of the little white maid servants lady had the baby, right on, and it'd be rumored that that mistress, Ellingham or whatever, bore a child to Jim, her nigger slave, or whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever name you want to think of, Duke, whatever name you want to give him, okay? It don't matter. All right? This is the type of shit that was going on. Now, it's not talked about in that article. It's just talking about the economic purchase and it's talking about one white woman in particular, but we're going to take her story and we're going to make it bigger and smaller because the smaller the plantation, the more likely the hanky panky, as they called it back in the day, was taking place, and this is a fact. So uh, I don't worry about what they think that I can't prove. I've already proved it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just cause it's power, it's responsibility, it's all those things. And so then that way you don't have to worry about if you type something in, it doesn't have to be approved. Right on? It's all good. You can just say what you like now. That's what it's for. Right. You shouldn't have to be approved. No, I don't give them to anybody. But the people that I've been dealing with for years. Yeah, right. You're like, it allows you to lay down the law. I'm like, but yeah, I don't try to look. People don't come around here acting crazy like that. You know, they used to. It used to be crazy. Like they used to show up. I like trolls used to show up all the time. But like it's weird. Like the message has changed a little bit. So they've been, you know, you know, it is what it is. Oh man, shout out everybody, man. You know, but I'm gonna shout out to my guy Cerulean Gray real quick for modding me. You feel me? Like once again, I try to tell y'all, I don't even fuck with a lot of those cats like that, and I'm gonna get back to the game. But you know, but I don't know why you laughing, bro. This shit is real, man. Anyway, dude, look, man, I be appreciating cats when they do for me, because if I want to go to bros live streams whenever I'm off and I want to tune in, if I want to regulate on niggas, I get to do that. You know what I'm saying? And I regulate with peace. You know, I say what I say. He can't act like he's really like, you know, in my corner like that, even though I think bro secretly like roots for a nigga, you know, like wants to see me beat my case, wants to be like he can't ever really talk about it, but it's one of those moral victories that you get to hold with somebody else. There's a lot of shit like that. There's a lot of people who, even though they talk a lot of shit, really they want to see me win because they know at the end of the day, they don't know what they would do. They would have got a lawyer. That's what they tell themselves. They're like, I don't know if I ever would have tried to go 10 toes with the courts all by myself, pretty much. You see what I'm saying? But let me get back to King Khan, Tragic Mulatto. And that's in part, and it's funny, I ran into this, and the guy who talks about the Tragic Mulatto all the time is one Cerulean Gray. So this is also like a, you know, whenever I see him do things that I know that I've talked about, that I'm sure he's delving off into this because he may have heard yours truly delve off into a specific subject, an area of research. Now let's talk about this Tragic Mulatto real quick, right? I'm gonna pull up the screen. But first, what I want y'all to understand: don't worry about the word myth. The word myth is a funny thing because the person who's calling it a myth is probably a fucking mulatto. You know what I'm saying? And that alone makes, you know, the name of the article laughable. But look at the person right here. They're mixed, right? Probably the one who wrote it, more than likely. That's just how it's going to be. This is just how people are. They're going to contend what they want to contend because she may feel as if, and look at her hair. All right, her shit is hella loose. It's not like it's. I mean, her shit is flat than a motherfucker. This bitch is like she like a quadroon. You feel me? Or maybe a third black. Like her hair is hella loose. Come on, man. But this is the type of shit I'm talking about. Now here we go. Lydia Maria Child introduced the literary character that we call the Tragic Mulatto in two short stories, The Quadroons and Slavery's Pleasant Homes. She portrayed this light-skinned woman as the offspring of a white slaveholder and his black female slave. This mulatto's life was indeed tragic. She was ignorant of both her mother's race and her own. She believed herself to be white and free. Her heart was pure, her manners impeccable, her language polished, and her face beautiful. Her father died. her Negro blood discovered, and she was remanded to slavery, deserted by her white lover, and died a victim of slavery and white male violence. Mm, mm. A similar portrayal of the near white mulatto appeared in Clodagh, 1853, a novel written by black abolitionist William Wells Brown. A century later, literary and cinematic portrayals of tragic mulatto emphasized her personal pathology, self-hatred, depression, alcoholism, sexual perversion, suicide attempts being the most common. If light enough to pass as white, she did, but passing led to deeper self-loathing. She pitied or despised blacks and the blackness in herself. She hated or feared whites, yet desperately sought their approval. In a race-based society, the tragic mulatto found peace only in death. She evoked pity or scorn, not sympathy. Sterling Brown summarized the treatment of the tragic mulatto by white writers. White writers insist upon the mulatto's unhappiness for other reasons. To them, he is the anguished victim of divided inheritance. Mathematically, they work out his intellectual strivings and self-control come from his white blood, and his emotional urgings, idolence, and potential savagery come from his Negro blood. Come on. Their favorite character, the Octoroon, wretched because of the single drop of midnight in her veins, desires a white lover above all else, and must therefore go down to a tragic end. Vera Casperi's novel, The White Girl, told the story of Solaria, a beautiful mulatto who passes for white. Her secret is revealed by the appearance of her brown-skinned brother. Depressed and believing that her skin is becoming darker, Solaria drinks poison. A more realistic but equally depressing mulatto character is found in Jeffrey Barnes' novel, Dark Luster. Alpine, the light-skinned heroine, dies in childbirth. Her white baby lives to continue a cycle of A light-skinned heroine dies in childbirth, but her white baby lives to continue a cycle of pain. Both Solaria and Alpine are repulsed by blacks, especially black suitors. That's funny that the black people who want to be with them are the most repulsed by them. Okay. Most tragic mulattoes were women. Although the self-loathing Sergeant Waters in A Soldier's Story, The Jewess in 1984, clearly fits the tragic mulatto stereotype. The troubled mulatto is portrayed as a selfish woman who will give all up, including her family, in order to live as a white person. The words are illustrative, are illustrative. Don't come for me. If you see me in the street, don't speak to me. From this moment on, I'm white. I am not colored. You have to give me up. Wow! Holy fuck! Did you hear the deepness in that? Man, let me read that again. Don't come for me. If you see me in the street, don't speak to me. From this moment on, I'm white. I'm not colored. You have to give me up. These words are spoken by Piola, a tortured, self-hating black girl in the movie Imitation of Life. LaMille and Stahl, 1934. Piola, adeptly played by Fredi Washington, had skin that looked white, but she was not socially white. She was a mulatto. Piola was tired of being treated as a second-class citizen, tired as being treated like a 1930s black American. She passed for white and begged her mother to understand. Wow, because her mother was black. See, but her mom's just sorry. This is what makes the black women look so sorry, okay? All right? Because you have the story of the tragic mulatto, right? But her mom is like, I hate you. The white dude raped me. I hate you. I don't love you. Why do you think the white daughters had to stand? I want y'all to understand. When they talk about the tragic mulatto who died in slavery, it's like, man, get the fuck out of here. Some white dude was willing to marry her, pump babies into her, okay, and give her white-looking children. All right? What do you think white trash is about? Huh? Tell yourself the truth now. And why do you think that? Now, I'm going to tell you the real tragic mulatto. when we get done with this. Listen, y'all, right now, if I don't say at the end who the attractive mulatto is, I'm holding y'all responsible to remind me. Somebody better remind your boy if he don't remember. Round 2, come on. Each woman, whoa, stop. Imitation of Life, based on Fannie Hurst's best-selling novel, traces the lives of 2 widows, one white, the employer, and the other black, and the servant. Wow. Each woman has 1 daughter. The white woman, Beatrice Pullman, played by Claudette Colbert, hires the black woman, Delilah, played by Louis Beavers. Oh, her name has to be Delilah, right? As a living cook and housekeeper. It is depression and the 2 women and the daughters. It is the depression and the 2 women and the daughters live in poverty. Even a financially struggling white woman can afford a mammy. Right. Their economic salvation comes when Delilah shares a secret pancake recipe with her boss. Beatrice opens the restaurant, markets the recipe, and soon becomes wealthy. She offers Delilah, the restaurant's cook, a 20% share of the profits. Regarding the recipe, Delilah, a true cinematic mammy, delivers 2 of the most pathetic lines ever from a black character. I gives it to you, honey. I makes you a present of it. While Delilah is keeping her mistress' family intact, her relationship with Piella, her daughter, disintegrates. Wow. Right. So you got a white-looking daughter. See what he's talking about? You see how pathetic they try to make? Man, I'm trying to tell y'all, King Khan is a cold nigga, dog. If I look, I almost want to slow clap for this nigga right now. I'm like, he's a cold motherfucker. Are y'all hearing this? Man, this shit is crazy. Dog. Her name is Delilah. We know Delilah fucked over Samson. Or what? So what? She fucked over the white guy? Huh? Come on, man. This shit is crazy. Right? She pressed on the white man, huh? The white man didn't press on her, even though written earlier to us, it was written that the white man didn't even get consensual sex from the white woman a lot of the time. Way back in the day when they were first established in this country. So understand the whole everything was way different. I'm gonna tell you why white women were choosing black men real quick. When they first got here, white boys couldn't feed themselves, house themselves, clothe themselves, nothing. Black people were doing all that for them. So naturally, the woman is going to choose the person who is the best provider. Right. White boys couldn't say nothing because they were like, right, this same black dude that she chose helps feed everybody who fucking lives in this little village. Come on, man. I'm trying to break it down to y'all. We come from special people, man. We're a peculiar people, okay? Here we go. Piella is the antithesis of the mammy culture caricature. Delilah knows her place in Jim Crow hierarchy, the bottom rung. Hers is an accommodating resignation, bordering on contentment. Piella hates her life, wants more, wants to live as a white person, to have the opportunities that whites enjoy. Delilah hopes that her daughter will accept her racial heritage. God made you black, honey. Don't be telling him his business. What? Accept it, honey. Now stop right there. They want you to accept that a white man's seed is black. No, it's not. Fuck that. Look, King Khan, I'm shooting you in the face. I don't give a fuck how curly the hair is. That's a white person to me, dog. And that's why black people look at them funny, because the bitch want to be white because her daddy white. Fuck you, bitch. One moment. Piella wants to be loved by a white man, to marry a white man. She is beautiful, sensual, potential wife to any white man who does not know her secret. Come on. Piola wants to live without the stigma of being black. And in the 1930s, that stigma was real and measurable. Ultimately and inevitably, Piola rejects her mother, runs away, and passes for white. Delilah dies of a broken heart. Oh, okay. She didn't die when the white man left her or died on her or whatever the fuck he did. Come on, man. It's pathetic. A repentant and tearful Piola returns to her mother's funeral. Audiences, black and white, and they were separate, hated what Piola did to her mother, and they hated Piola. She is often portrayed as the epitome of selfishness. In many academic discussions about tragic mulattoes, the name Piola is included. Come on, y'all. I need y'all to understand it's going down. From the mid-1930s to the late 1970s, Piola was an epithet used by blacks against light-skinned black women who identified with mainstream white society. Piola looked white and wanted to be white. During the Civil Rights Movement and during the Black Power Movement, the name Piola was an insult comparable to Uncle Tom, albeit a light-skinned female version. Frida Washington, the black actress who played Piola, was light enough to pass for white. Rumor has it that in the movies, makeup was used to blacken her skin so white audiences would know her race. She had sharply defined features, long, dark, and straight hair and green eyes. This limited the role she was offered because she could not play mammy roles. Though she looked white, not acknowledged black was allowed to play a white person from the 1930s to 1950s. Listen to this right here. She was not black. The bitch is a mixed breed mulatto, a tragic mulatto herself. Okay. All right. Okay. No offense. I'm going in. If Frida Washington's family want to come up here and catch the fade, they can get their heads cut the fuck off. Okay? And anybody else who wants that. Because I'll be damned if I let somebody put their hands on me. This dirty ass bitch right here. She played the character that she was in real life. It was easy for her to play this character. That's why they hated her, because it was they were like, she's not a white woman? And it broke their hearts. Come on. Imitation of Life was remade in 1959. Hunter and Sirk. The plot is essentially the same. However, Piola is called Sarah Jane, and she is played by Susan Conner, a white actress. Delilah is now Annie Johnson. The pancake storyline is gone. Instead, the white mistress is a struggling actress. The crux of the story remains the light-skinned girl's attempt to pass for white. She runs away and becomes a choir's girl in the sleazy nightclub. Her dark-skinned mother, played by Juanita Moore, follows her. She begs her mother to leave her alone. Sarah Jane does not want to marry a colored chauffeur. She wants a white boyfriend. Now listen to this right here. Their white mamas be so ashamed that they had sex with a black man that they will impress on their mulatto daughter, you should marry a good black man. You know, I always loved Tommy. Tommy was such a good boy. I just never gave him a chance. See? They try to live vicariously through their daughters because they didn't do the right thing. Understand me. This is why white men tell their mixed sons to go get a white woman, because it's the same thing. I'm going to keep it pushing. She gets a white boyfriend, but when he discovers her secret, he savagely beats her and leaves her in a gutter. As in the original, Sarah Jane Mothers dies from a broken heart, and the repentant child tearfully returns to the funeral. Piola and Sarah Jane were cinematic, tragic mulattoes. They were big screen testaments to the commonly held belief that mixed blood brought sorrow. If only they did not have a drop of Negro blood. Many audience members nodded agreement with Annie Johnson, asked rhetorically, how do you explain to your daughter that she was born to hurt? Were real mulattoes born to hurt? All racial minorities in the United States have been victimized by the dominant group, although expressions of that oppression vary. Mulattoes were considered black, therefore they were slaves along with their darker kinsmen. Stop right there. They weren't considered black. If you were black, you wouldn't be called a mulatto. Keep it pushing. All slaves were born to hurt. Stop it! They tried to call niggas born to hurt. Fuck you, motherfuckers. Fuck them. Double fingers up. You feel me? But some writers have argued that mulattoes were privileged. That's right. relative to dark-skinned blacks. E.B. Rutger, a historian, wrote. In slavery days, they were most frequently most frequently the trained servants and had advantages of daily contact with cultured men and women. Many of them were free and so enjoyed whatever advantages went with that superior status. They were considered by white people to be superior in intelligence to black Negroes, and came to take great pride in the fact of their white blood. When possible, they formed a sort of mixed blood caste and held themselves aloof from black Negroes and slaves of lower status. Rooters claim that mulattoes were held in higher regard and treated better than pure blacks must be closely examined. American slavery lasted for more than 2 centuries. Therefore, it is difficult to generalize the institution. If you guys listen to what I read to you earlier, you guys know that what he said is true. Because they didn't become fearful of the black man having sex with white women until when? After the Civil War. Come on. Nevertheless, there are clueless regarding the status of mulattoes. What? Clueless? No, they're not. Y'all just want to admit. In a variety of public statements and laws, the offspring of white-black sexual relations were referred to as mongrels, spurious. Although these interracial children were always legally defined as pure blacks, which was different from how they were handled in the New World countries, in other New World countries. A slaveholder claimed that there was not an old plantation in which the grandchildren of the owner, therefore mulattoes, are not whipped in the field by his overseer. Bullshit. Bullshit. Further, it seems that mulatto women were sometimes targeted for sexual abuse. Of course they were. According to the historian J.C. Furness, and it was their fathers who were doing it. Okay? It was their fathers who were having sex with the same daughters that they had with black women. So that way they're white, so that way their half white daughters would have white looking children. And you wonder why they're inbred, huh? Okay, come on, keep it pushing. I can't tell y'all everything I know because they'll kill me. According to the historian J.C. Furness, in some slave markets, mulattoes and quadroons brought higher prices because of their use of sexual objects. That's right. Some slavers found dark skin vulgar and repulsive. The mulatto approximated the white ideal of female attractiveness. All slave women and men and women, all slave women and men and children were vulnerable to being raped, but the mulatto afforded the slave owner the opportunity to rape with impunity a woman who was physically white or near white, but legally black. A greater likelihood of being raped is certainly not an indication of favored status. Did I not tell you guys that this is what white dudes are doing? Come on, man. Anyway, let's just keep pushing. So when you see in a relationship between so-called Mildred Loving and Richard Loving, man, you never know how that white dude got her. The mulatto woman was depicted as a seductress whose beauty drove white men to rape her. This is an obvious and flawed attempt to reconcile the prohibitions about miscongeniation, interracial sexual relations, with the reality that white routinely use black as sexual objects. One slaver noted that it is not like a likely looking girl in the state that is not the concubine of a white woman. There is not a likely looking girl in the state that is not the concubine of a white man. Every mulatto was proof of the color line had been crossed. In this regard, mulattoes were symbols of rape and concubinage. So every good looking black woman was getting fucked on. Are you hearing this bullshit? Are you guys hearing this bullshit? Are you guys hearing this bullshit? King Khan. The tragic mulatto who wrote this is trying to justify himself. Though skin color games came to assume the importance through generations out of association with slavery, white colonists developed few qualms about intimate contact with black women. Okay, but raising their social status of those who labored at the bottom of society, who were defined as abysmal inferior, were a matter of serious concern. It was resolved by ensuring that the mulatto would not occupy a position midway between white and black. Any black blood was classified as a person as black, and to be black was to be a slave. By prohibiting racial intermarriage, winking at interracial sex, and defining all mixed offspring as black, white society found the ideal answer to its labor needed. Now look, I'm not sure if I'm gonna put you guys through all this bullshit because I've already read shit that goes totally against this. You see what I'm saying? So I'm gonna pause for 1 second, take a couple sips from round two, because as I was reading this, I was like, yeah, this shit's crazy. I really hope y'all are having a better time than I am. See, when I read this stuff, it's painful. It's painful for two reasons. Because I know King Khan is lying, right? So here's the question. How did King Khan keep his white race pure if his white daughters and nieces and wives were fucking black dudes on the side? Right. Once again, I need y'all to understand something. The genetic material within an Aboriginal and the strange Negro that was brought here are different. So the willingness to fight back against your oppressor may be more present in a person who is Aboriginal to the land, who felt like you took something from them, as opposed to a person who was brought here and is already down in their spirits. It's different. Understand this, respect it. The reason why I bring this up is because where did all the mixed people go? It just told you right there. I just read it to you. It's crazy. Oh, all the good looking slaves they were fucking, huh? So either all black women were ugly to them and they weren't doing that. There was only a few of them, or they were. I keep telling. This is why I try to break down that all black isn't black. That's why I try to break down that there's different kinds of so-called black people. I don't even have time to talk about it right now, but I'm going to break into it just a little bit. If a Native American that had dark skin had straight hair, who do you think the white man was more likely to try to rape? The straight hair slave or the curly haired slave? Mm. Just something for you to think about. Right. And then how do you think those mulattoes look? So-called mulattoes. If the person that he raped already had straight hair. Right. Mm. See, I'm not tripping. Nigga would have a hard time defending himself against anything that I'm saying. There's people that have a black parent and a white parent that are mixed that have straight like hair. So you're telling me a person like that has children with a person that has straight hair, the baby that comes out won't have straight hair also? Okay. Okay. You believe what you know. Let me break it down. Give me 1 moment. And I'm pulling the screen back up. This stuff takes so long. But it's exhausting because even though I don't want to say anything, sometimes it's like I just can't let a motherfucker just I can't just read it to you as if I believe that bullshit, that I'm reading. If I'm telling you it's King Khan, this is King Khan. You feel me? King Khan needs to be exposed on that level. Wait a minute. So, like that. Here we go. The mulatto woman was depicted as a seductress whose beauty drove white men to rape her. Stop right there. Let me ask you something. Let me ask you something. Do you think they had spandex pants back then? You think they were letting slave girls wear like, super duper tight clothes? Like revealing like all of their bodies? And so I'm wondering, outside of the fact that we already read that white dudes have this tendency to rape, I'm wondering how many of those concubines were raped and then gave in. Mm. See, It's easier to call her a concubine because now she's compliant. Now she listens. She's been broken. Right. Man, these niggas should be so ashamed. Some of these niggas should be so ashamed of themselves. This is why I only go so hard on females. I only go so hard on my niggas. I only go so hard on the females. Because I know at the end of the day when I read stuff like this, it's telling an incomplete story. And a truth that nobody ever wants to realize. We are in the shit. I'm gonna read these last little few paragraphs to y'all, man. But we are neck deep in the shit. And if people don't wake up, and if people don't realize what the fuck is happening right now, black people will have successfully bred themselves out. You know what I'm saying? And the white man will have gotten this way without having to fucking fire a gun at him. Come on. Only certain of these rich people, black people, have actual black children. Many of the athletes have many athletes have mixed children. It's crazy. It's disgusting in a way because it's like where there's a whole lot of them who have black kids. I would say it's almost even to how many of those guys have mixed kids. It's pretty close to even. And the number of mixed athletes today, as compared in the past, is robust. Super robust. Because they want them to replace black people. Right. But however, I don't know shit. So I'm gonna leave it be. I will leave it be. And I will let the beat rock, as people say. Though skin color came to assume importance through generations in association with slavery, white colonists developed few qualms about intimate contact with black women, but raising the social status about those who labored at the bottom of society who were deemed abysmally inferior was a matter of serious concern. It was resolved by ensuring that the mulatto would not occupy a position midway between white and black. Let's just go ahead and keep it pushing. Let's get past this part. George M. Fredrickson, the author of The Black Image and the White Mind, claimed that many white Americans believed that mulattoes were a degenerate race because they had white blood, which made them ambitious and power hungry, combined with black blood, which made them animalistic and savage. Wow! This shit is crazy. The attributing of personality and morality to traits to blood seems foolish today. No, it doesn't. It seems less foolish. It's even more true today than it ever was back then. But it was taken seriously in the past. Charles Carroll, the author of The Negro a Beast, describes blacks as ape-like. Regarding mulattoes, the offspring of unnatural relationships, they did not have the right to live because Carroll said they were majority rapists. They were the majority of rapists and killers. His claim was untrue, but widely believed. How was he wrong? How did they know that? How did they know that he was wrong though? They weren't alive when he was alive. You see what I'm saying? This is the type of shit. If a majority of the dudes getting caught up back then that were white looking were not just white dudes, but they're like, yo, every time we catch one of these motherfucking, dudes for doing some shit wrong, he's doing some epic shit. He killing somebody, he raping a chick, he took the pussy, you know what I mean? Type shit like these niggas. Anyway, man, I want y'all to understand and respect what these guys are trying to do to us, yo. Like they are really trying to they're trying to lay it on thick. I love it. In 1899, a Southern white woman, L.H. Harris, wrote to the editor of the Independent that a true Negro brute who rapes white women was always nearly a mulatto, with enough white blood in him to replace his native humility and cowardice with Caucasian audacity. Oh, wow. Wow. They call black people humble cowards. Mm, mm. Let's keep it pushing. King Kong on the motherfucking mission. Mulatto women were depicted as emotionally troubled seducers and mulatto men as power-hungry criminals. I love it. I love it, because if the mulatto man is not a power-hungry motherfucker right now, then what is he? He's trying to come up. He's like, nigga, I can replace a white dude, get white bitches, get them pregnant and everything. Anyway, y'all don't even understand. I'm trying to break it down to you. I'm talking real. I'm trying to tell y'all, man. I'm on one today. I'm a good one. I hope they came for white heaven. I hope they came to hear King Kong get shot in his face right off the building. Let's keep it pushing. Nowhere are these depictions more evident in D.W. Griffith's film, Birth of a Nation. The Birth of a Nation is arguably the most racist mainstream movie produced in the U.S. The melodrama of the Civil War and Reconstruction justified and glorified the Ku Klux Klan. Indeed, the Klan of the 1920s owes its existence to William Joseph Simmons, an itinerant Methodist preacher who watched the film a dozen times, then felt divinely inspired to resurrect the Klan, which had been dormant since 1871. D.W. Griffith based the film on Thomas Dixon's anti-black novel, The Klansman, also the original title of the movie. Griffith followed Dixon's lead, depicted his black character as either little darkies or brutes, and beasts lusting for power, and worse yet, lusting for white women. Now, this shit right here goes back to what I said to y'all earlier. Right on. These feelings didn't come up until after the Civil War because they were fearful of what? Black men being able to have access to white women, which they've had access to since they've been here. Right? And their mulatto children taking power. Come on. I hope y'all see how full circle this shit is coming right now. I pray to God y'all really actually see how full circle this shit I'm doing. This is filthy. The Birth of a Nation tells the story of two families, the Stonemans of Pennsylvania and the Camerons of South Carolina. The Stonemans, headed by politician Austin Stoneman, and the Camerons, headed by slaveholder Little Colonel Ben Cameron, have their long-time friendship divided by the Civil War. The Civil War exacts a terrible toll on both families. Both have sons die in the war. The Camerons, like many slaveholders, suffer ruin, devastation, rapine, and pillage. The Birth of a Nation depicts radical Reconstruction as a time when blacks dominate and oppress whites. I love it. The film shows blacks pushing whites off the sidewalk, snatching the possessions of whites, attempting to rape a white teenager, and killing blacks who are loyal to whites. I love it. I fucking love it. I fucking love it. Stoneman, a carpetbagger or a Jew, moves his family to the South. He falls under the influence of Lydia, his mulatto housekeeper and mistress. Austin Stoneman is portrayed as a naive politician who betrays his people, whites. Lydia, his lover, is described as subtle, and in the subtitle as the weakness that is to blight a nation. Stoneman sends another mulatto, Silas Lynch, to aid the carpetbaggers in organizing and wielding the power of vote. Lynch, owing to his white blood, becomes ambitious. He and his agents rile the local blacks. They attack whites and pillage. Lynch becomes lieutenant governor, and his black co-conspirators are voted into statewide political offices. The Birth of a Nation shows black legislators debating a bill to legalize interracial marriages. Their legs propped up on table, eating chicken, drinking whiskey. I fucking love it. I fucking love it. I love it. Silas Lynch proposes marriage to Stoneman's daughter, Elsie. He says, I would build a black empire, and you as my queen shall rule by my side. When she refuses, he binds her and decides on a forced marriage. Lynch informs Stoneman that he wants to marry a white woman. Stoneman approves until he discovers that that the white woman is his daughter. While the drama unfolds, black attacks white. It looks hopeless until the newly formed KKK arrives to establish white rule. I love this shit. The Birth of a Nation set the standard for cinematic technical innovation. The the imaginative use of cross-cutting, lighting, editing, and close-ups. It also sets the standard for cinematic anti-black images. All of the major black caricatures are in the movie, including Mammies, Sambos, Toms, Pickaninnies, Coons, Beasts, and tragic mulattoes. The depiction of Lydia, a cold-hearted, hateful seductress, and Silas Lynch, a powerful, hungry, sex-obsessed criminal, were early examples of the pathology supposedly inherent to the tragic mulatto stereotype. Mulattoes did not fare better in other books and movies, especially those who passed for white. In Nella Larsen's novel Passing, Claire, a mulatto passing for white, frequently is drawn to blacks in Harlem. Her bigoted white husband finds her there. Her problems are solved when she falls to her death from a six-story window. Love it. In the movie Showboat, right, bitch, you want to hang out with black people, but you want to, fuck you. I hope you die. In the movie Showboat, LaMille and Will, 1936, beautiful young entertainer Julie discovers that she has Negro blood. Existing laws that held that one drop of Negro blood makes you a Negro. Her husband and the movie's writer and producer takes this one drop literally. The husband cuts her hand with the knife and sucks her blood. This supposedly makes him a Negro. Wow. Afterward, Julie and her newly mulatto husband walk hand in hand. Nevertheless, she is a scream mulatto. So the movie ends with one of those one-time cheerful white woman, now a Negro alcoholic. I love it. Lost Boundaries is a book by William L. White, 1948, made into a movie in 1948, 1949. The Rockman and Worker. It tells the story of a troubled mulatto couple, the Johnsons. The husband is a physician, but he cannot get a job in a Southern black hospital because he looks white, and no Southern white hospital will hire him. The Johnsons move to New England to pass for white. They become pillars of their community, all while terrified of being discredited. Years later, when the secret is discovered, the townspeople turn against him. The town's white minister delivers a sermon on racial tolerance, which leads the locals, shamefaced and guilt-ridden, to befriend the mulatto couple. Lost Boundaries, despite the white minister's sermon, blames the mulatto couple, not a racist culture, for this discrimination, and the personal conflicts faced by the Johnsons. Right. So, like, it's their fault. Even though they were born that way, you feel me? I love how white people think, because these niggas are so crazy. So I love it. Blame him. Even if his father's a white man who raped a black woman, it's his fault. It's his fault. Right? Because you know white people are sick. They're viciously sick. So, they can't help nothing. Anyway, let's keep it pushing. 1958, Natalie Wood starred in Kings Go Forth. Ross and Daves. The story of a young French mulatto who passes for white. She becomes involved with two American soldiers on leave. They are both infatuated with her until they discover that her father is black. Both men desert her. She attempts suicide unsuccessfully. Given another chance to live, she turns her family's large home into a hospital for war orphans. Those just as deprived of love as herself. At the movie's end, one of the soldiers is dead, the other missing an arm, returns to the mulatto woman. They are comparable, both damaged, and it is implied that they will marry. This is crazy. The mulatto woman portrayed in Showboat, Lost Boundaries, and Kings Go Forth were portrayed by white actresses. It was a common practice. Producers felt that white audiences would feel sympathy for a tortured white woman, even if she was portraying a mulatto character. A lot of those fucking white bitches were fucking quadroons and octoroons, y'all. Man, don't get it fucked up. The audience knew she was really white. Okay. And Pinky, Zanuck, and Kazan, 1949. Jean Crane, a well-known actress, played the role of the troubled mulatto. Her dark-skinned grandmother was played by Ethel Waters. When audiences saw Ethel Waters doing the menial labor, it was consistent with their understanding of a mammy's life. But when Janine Crane was showing washing other people's clothes, audiences cried. This is fucking crazy. Even black filmmakers like Oscar Mitchell made movies with tragic mulattoes. Within Our Great Gates, Mitchell, 1920, tells the story of a mulatto woman who was hit by a car, missed by a con man, nearly raped by a white man, and witnessed the lynching of her entire family. God's Stepchildren, Mitchell, 1938, tells the story of Naomi, oh, a mulatto who leaves her black husband and child and passes for white. Later consumed by guilt, she commits suicide. Mulatto actresses played these roles. No shit. Because bitch, you're a dirty ass bitch and you fucking anyway, man. Listen, do y'all hear the kind of shit they're talking about? This is what people used to actually do. Okay? Okay? These chicks would run off. All right. Black man done loved you when nobody else would. Even though he shouldn't even be loving your monkey ass. Now look at you. Right? You end up in a fucked up position. But now these days though, the quadroons and the mulattoes are all over these brothers because they understand that black men provide. Sickening. However, let's keep it pushing. Frida Washington, the star of Imitation of Life, was one of the first cinematic tragic mulattoes. She was followed by women like Dorothy Dandridge and Nina Mae McKinney. Dandridge deserves special attention because she was not only portrayed doomed, unfulfilled women, but she was the embodiment of tragic mulatto in real life. Her role as the lead character in Carmen Jones' Perminger in 1954 helped make her a star. She was the first black featured on the cover of Life magazine. In The Island of the Sun, Zanuck and Rosen, she was the first black woman to be held lovingly in the arms of a white man in an American movie. She was beautiful and talented actress, but Hollywood was not ready for a black leading lady. Do you see how they want to call these motherfuckers black when they're not black? Right on. You see how they try to apply that one drop rule, and it's fake. King Khan, I'm trying to tell y'all. King Khan has look. If you guys believe one drop makes you black, you're to me. I'm telling you right now. I think you're mentally retarded. It's okay though. It's okay that you're mentally retarded if you think that, because I'm gonna fix you. Disillusioned by roles that limited her to exotic, self-destructive mulatto types, she went to Europe, where she fared worse. She died in 1965 at the age of 42 from an overdose of antidepressants. What you get, bitch? Don't feel bad for you. I want to be white. I want to be white. What you get? Fuck out of here. Look at that. Lucky Brown pressing oil to make your semi-curly hair that already falls down look totally straight, and your white skin with your big nigga nose. Bitch, please. Today's successful mulattoes actresses, for example, Holly Berry, Lisa Bonet, Jasmine Guy, owe a debt to their pioneer efforts to dandruff. These women have a great wealth and fame. They are biracial, but their statuses and circumstances are not tragic. They are not marginalized. They are mainstream celebrities. Dark-skinned actresses Whoopi Goldberg, Angela Bassett, Alfred Woodard, and Joey Lee have enjoyed comparable success. They too benefit from Dandridge's path clearing. The tragic mulatto was more a myth than reality. Okay, Dandridge was an exception. The mulatto was made tragic in the minds of whites who reasoned that the greatest tragedy was to be near white so close yet a racial gulf away. The near white was pitied and shunned. There was undoubtedly light-skinned black males and male. There was undoubtedly light-skinned blacks, male and female, who felt marginalized in this race-conscious culture. This was true for many people of color, including dark-skinned blacks. Self-hatred and interracial hatred are not limited to light-skinned blacks. There is evidence that all racial minorities in the U.S. have battled feelings of inferiority and group animosity. Those are unfortunately the cost of being a minority. Shut the fuck up. I'm done reading this bitch's shit. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. Yeah. Or stop it right there. We're done. If I gotta fucking drive it home that King Khan is a dirty bastard, I don't know what the fuck like. What else can I do? You know what I mean? What else can I do? This is King Khan, y'all. This is white heaven at its finest. To get everybody to believe some bullshit, and then have niggas running around here. Oh, he raped our grandmothers. No. Black people didn't come here dark as fucking charcoal, nigga. Okay? It's not how it happened. The fact that a black person would even think that black people. Anyway, man, it's sickening. Sickening. Is it propaganda though, sister? It was that before it was called propaganda. Before that word ever existed, it was already what it is. It was King Khan, a big, ugly white gorilla with a fat white bitch in his hand. I'm telling y'all, beating his chest, going crazy. Come on, man. Y'all want me to break down why these black dudes really be fucking with white chicks who are fat like that? Y'all don't want me to expose these niggas, man. Don't make me expose them, okay? All right? I'm trying to tell y'all. I'm vicious. Capital V. I'm not playing with him right now. I'm having a good one. Ask me anything right now, though, y'all, about this. Because I want somebody to ask me something so that way I can answer it. Break it down to him. I don't know, Steve. You're asking for a lot of trouble, dog. Give me a second. And let me see how this guy right here tastes. Look. Fat white chick and the black dude. Now I'm not gonna. All right. Fuck. In the book that's on my table right there called White Trash, there's this explanation given that when they first sent the white men to the land of America, so-called America, right? What happened was they weren't sending high-class women. They weren't sending pretty women to America. You see? They were sending the women who had their fill of meat and ale, if you get what I mean. The scallywags. So what happened was when they got here and they couldn't eat, right? And they were hungry. Understand that the aversion, which was really an affinity that they took to the black man, they probably offered them, the white women, these fat, nasty white women, offered themselves to these black men for a long time. It became a known thing. This is why slavery wasn't what it was for a long time. Do you understand? Slavery was a crude animal for a very long time until there was enough quadroons and octoroons to help control the blacks. Let me break it down to you. Some of the first people that they were able to use to get to control black people were their children that they were having with these fat white bitches, fat, nasty white bitches who were coming over here, right? Not escaping religious persecution, but coming here with their brothers who have been promised large tracts of land, coming here with their fathers. their uncles and their cousins who have been promised large swaths of land. I need y'all to understand this. Okay, they didn't kick out the pretty women in England first. No, they kicked out all the undesirables. Right. So a chick back then who fucking all she did was drink and eat, you gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta get the fuck up out of here. So they were putting chicks. Sure, there was petite women who probably came here. But the book illustrates that a woman who was hefty was fucking, she was heavily sought after. So what makes you think that white dudes would have an issue with a fat white chick, who's a maid servant, who's a house servant, fucking some black dude? Let me break it down to you now. Okay. One dude says, look, they don't care as long as the white woman looks like a pillow. So what did these guys do? Go after all the pillows for a long time. Trust them, believe that. There was a few of them who had a petite, I guess you could call a pretty white woman, but a lot of them had pillows. I'll put my top, middle, and bottom dollar on it. You find black men who make money. Black men with money. Black men with money. To this day with money. We'll go get with the pillow right now. Somebody tell me, somebody throw a stone at me and tell me I'm lying. Somebody throw the stone at your boy and tell him he's lying. I need to be told I'm not telling the truth. Because if I'm not, somebody tell me. This is what happened. This is why socially you see what you call thick white women today still after black men. Come on. They ain't ready. They ain't ready. I told y'all I was going in on King Khan. I didn't give a fuck. They can strike this bitch down tonight, today. I can end the stream and they can strike it down. I don't give a fuck. I loves it. I loves it. If they kept it funky like I do, I would listen to them. Come on. Come on. Come on. I feel you, Dre. I feel you, Dre. He said magnetism would just take over and pull all the magnetic ore, all the iron ore, all the steel ore and the rock right to the. Come on, man. I told y'all, man, I've been holding King Khan back. King Khan has been on the building raging, and I've been waiting to shoot his bitch ass down. Don't worry. This hasn't been a single, once again, small unit cohesion has done this. This is us. We're all on a fighter jet shooting him in his face. You've all seen what I'm talking about. They're living in a glass house, y'all. They're living in a glass house. Don't worry. They only hate me because I smoke weed and I drink liquor. I'm coping with my life and with the pain in my body. You feel me? They can be mad about it all they want. Trust me, I paid for it. Just like I paid my rent early in advance. I paid for this. I'm broke now, but that's all right. That's all right. Because King Khan is dead. After this, I may never talk about it again. Because I fucking put the stake in his ass today. Man, I vampired this nigga, man. He's out of here. King Khan can no longer exist. Because do you know how many websites there were outside of the one that I showed you, outside of the ones that I showed you, talking about black men and white women? Fuck out of here. I just didn't want to act like that's not my thing. But I wanted to have a strong one. And that was just a review of a book. That wasn't trying to drop the dimes on them. That was just a review. They're not ready, y'all. They're not ready. When I meet somebody, look, Andre, I got it on. Just in case they can't read it, I'm going to try to get it right there. It says unfuckable. It says it. It says it. Today I'm on one. Trying to be like that. I don't care what they say, what they think. Because they're not willing to put in the time. I put in countless hours of research. Countless hours of research. Countless of counter research. Countless. What's the difference between reading and reading a book, y'all? I don't get it. If I read, I read. If I get the same information that it took you 300 pages to get, and I get it in one website, what's the difference? Right. A motherfucker is mad because I'm using the internet the way it's supposed to be used. They're mad because I have the mind to do it. I don't need 100,000. I don't even need 1,000 followers. Man, look, it could just be y'all fucking with me for the rest of this shit. And I'm trying to tell y'all, your boy's not tripping. Tomorrow we're going to go in with the weekly update. Wet Fabric Part 2. But back to King Khan. The white man has been beating his chest for years. We used to rape black women. Or better yet, they used to just give themselves to us. But they don't want to talk about, well, what about white women who were fucking black dudes? At will. Y'all remember the story that I read to you? The little snippet to it. The chick accused the guy of rape, but it was already discovered that she was pregnant way before she accused him of that. Come on now, this is in the 1600s. This is in the 1600s. And these niggas think I'm tripping? These niggas think I'm smoking dope? Okay. Okay. I'm tripping. But while I'm smoking this dope, I'm going to stay tripping. And I'm going to stay on cloud 9, floating. Because I think it's so funny that while niggas don't want to motherfucking say, you know what, Meech? You right. I know y'all know that I'm not tripping. You don't understand. It gets down. I don't do this shit for fun, right? I don't do this shit for fun. I don't do this shit for jokes, laughs and giggles, even though I be laughing and smiling all the time. I'm laughing right now, I say, smiling right now, but I do it because I'm serious. I do it because it means a lot to me. Y'all mean a lot to me. My mother used to say something, and people that are a little bit older understand this saying. My mom said when she used to go to school, her teachers used to say, I got my education already. But as a young boy, I thought that was condescending and rude. And the more I think about, yeah, I already know it. So what good is it if I know it, but I don't say anything to you? I don't vindicate myself by saying, Father, I at least shared the information. There's no, right. I have to vindicate myself. I have to sound the trumpet. They want us to believe something that they want us to believe that one white man who slept in the attic of his home with his gun right next to him, was out there running around raping on all the slaves all day. Overseers did crazy shit, and they used to get fucked up too. Come up dead. Don't think it didn't happen. Man, don't think this shit didn't happen. That's why I thought. You think niggas just turned gangster and just started killing white people? They've been killing white people since before they got here. They was killing white people on the boats before they got here. Don't get it fucked up. King Khan will make you think that every nigga who was in chains was a Semite. No, 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 no. Some of those guys were Ishmaelites. Some of those guys were Ardukites. Some of those guys were Jebusites. So, right. Gets deep, doesn't it? Some of them were Egyptians. Ooh, some of them were Philistines. See? Don't let me fuck your head up right now. Because some of the people that came here with you, gilded with beards and afros, aren't even your people like that. Ooh. Ooh. Damn. Damn. See, I'm operating at such a fucking level that if a nigga tried to argue with me, I'll acknowledge, okay, what about Egypt? What about it? Do they acknowledge that there was giants in Egypt? Because if they said, oh, that's just make-believe fantasy, then I guess their ideas of Egypt and them building pyramids with their minds, to me, is make-believe fantasy because I know giants did it. Right. I want to catch the fade. I love the fade. I love the fade. There ain't nothing like it. There ain't nothing like the fade. Trust me. Been almost beat to death with brass knuckles. Still not afraid to catch. Still not even hesitant to get out there and let's get it. Motherfuckers have no idea. Cut from a whole other cloth. If these niggas can hang with it, I would let them hang, but they just can't hang. We are hubcaps in the fast lane, ladies and gentlemen. Loose ones, but we are holding on. They are well secured. They wouldn't know what it's like to have a real struggle hit them, to almost end them, to make them plead to the Most High. They have no idea what it's like. They are the strangers who are within, who get high above. Garner favor within the society. They are your rappers. King Khan will tell you that you're all the same. King Khan will tell you his dirty fucking bastard ass with his evil, wicked ways and his forked tongue will tell you on one side that we kept our blood pure. Then on the other side, we raped these women and produced children with them. Which the fuck is it, King Khan? While I blast your face and I see you fucking fall off and I laugh as you do it. And the fat white bitch with you. I love it. I love it. I love it. Take some. To get some. As Andre says, take that. Take that. And I mean it with every piece of me. You think these motherfuckers care about you? Everything they do to bring you down. Everything they do to bring you down. They hate you. They have no love for you, not a piece of it. King Khan would step on your ass if you didn't even give him the chance. He just has to be in the vicinity. So don't let that fucker get close enough, number one. But we're killing them now. But you know, these people, they're excellent at their witchcraft sorceries. They may resurrect another one. Don't worry, it was I who put into the fucking realm trillions of dollars. Per person. I need $1 trillion. You need $1 trillion. I put that out there into circulation. These cowards are afraid to say that. The world owes us. Everybody owes us. I don't give a fuck what they say. Fuck them if they don't like it. I keep trying to tell people, wherever you are at, your grievance is there. I live in America. I can't tell the Germans to pay me for what they did to the people in Africa. I don't have right to that. But what I do have right to do is to say, hey, in this country, because we produce to the whole world what is known as common light, you owe us, motherfucker. You owe us. The blinds, the curtain, everything they have in their homes that they enjoy, their safety mechanisms, their life. You owe us everything. And King Khan, that motherfucker, has been telling people for years that you ain't nothing. Getting his rocks off while he does it. They laugh when they impregnate a black woman. Stupid nigger, bitch. And they pray to God that you get one of their daughters pregnant so you can produce a super athlete for them who's not you. Who's not you, so they can prop them up. Because they're not going to prop you up like that. They hate the way that I am. They hate me. Believe that. Oh, just so you guys know, I'll probably be labeled incompetent by this guy's measurement of his mind, because he canceled our interview. He canceled the whole thing because he got sad because he was asking me questions, and some of the questions I was saying, like, it depends. And it depends is a legitimate answer. He didn't elaborate. Well, what do you mean by it depends? So he didn't get an elaboration. Fuck him. Fuck him. He said, we're done here pretty much. I know my fucking cue. Peace out. Everybody's so afraid, so cowardly, bowing down, and they want to talk like they're fucking doing something. I'm at the bottom of the rungs, and I make shit happen, and I make people feel it at the bottom. I don't need to get to the top. I just need to stay right here and just do my thing. I love it right here. And the grimy yuck and the really turfing. Really turfing. They've never done it. They've never turfed a day in their life. They'll say they have. They had runners. They never turfed. They gave the dope to their cousins. They bought it and gave it to their cousin who was a real turfer. They never turfed. And I put it in, nigga. What the fuck you talking about? That type of shit. King Khan will tell you lies like black slaves were lazy. How the fuck can you be lazy, but you guys were a cotton empire? Fork-tongued devil. I can't even go in on how hard King Khan is. Nigga, but the hardest con is that they want you to believe that the mixed race people whom when they make mixed race babies, they're never dominant, physical dominant people. They're always effeminate. I could read that to you right now in this book right here called White Trash. Why they didn't like the mulatto, why they hated the mulatto, and they raped their own daughters, right, to increase their own numbers. Thank you very much. Made their own sons and daughters have children together. Thank you very much. Which is why they practice that weird shit to this fucking day. Dirty ass bastards. And niggas think I'm tripping. I told you I didn't want me to get this potion in me. I told you the potion was going to make it come out. I don't even know. I never go like this. I always try to keep it peaceful. You don't even know how peaceful I keep it. Right now, this is like rated PG-13. I haven't gone rated R yet, but I'm slowly acclimating myself. I'm like, if I spend any more time talking about this, I'm about to go all the way in on these bitches. On King Khan. See, I don't need the love like they need the love. I have people that care about me. I have people that pray for me. Your prayers will do more than an army worth of arsenal. Do you understand that? They don't have the effect that you have. That's why I'm still here. Because they've been praying death. Oh, trust me. They've prayed death on this one. They pray I die every day. Because the shit that I say steams niggas up. Let me get in front of a crowd of 10,000 black people, 100,000, and say some shit like this. Real black people. Not the bullshit that they hear about trying to start no fucking business or none of that. Let me get you steamed up for a second. Then let's see how you act with these white people when you fucking interact with them. Just a day later, they're terrified, horrified. Got a legitimate case against their bitch asses for millions. They're trying to hold me back. They thought that keeping me in the country was going to keep me from doing, I'm going to do more damage now. I'm going to do as much damage as I can since I can't go anywhere. Since you guys want to fucking hold me up with cases and want to keep me from making a legitimate claim that we are all not the same. Black people I'm talking about, King Khan. See, this is how hard they go. I got their asses. Don't worry. I'm going to put that ass in a sling. And it's all going to be because of a missing firearm that no one is going to be able to prove is accounted for. I'm going to dust them up. Keeping it pushing. These bitch motherfuckers don't know what's coming to them. They have no idea. If I have it my way, save my money for the next 5 or 6 months, 8 months till next year, whatever, don't worry. I'll say some dumb shit in the meeting with the people who are running shit between litigation. Like, yeah, I want to rename the whole city of Seattle after me. Fuck you. I'll say some dumb shit to them and really make them feel it. Fuck King Khan. Fuck you people. If they bother you, if they do something to you, you come back with the most virulent force that you have in your body. And I'm not talking about killing them. I'm not talking about force or violence. I'm talking about what their mechanisms, what they've given you at your disposal, at your fingertips. Because there are forces and agencies that work against one another for the whole sole purpose of surviving to work against the other agency. Use them against one another. Because that's what they're trying to do to us. The tragic mulatto. No. They know if they're black. They know if they're white. They believe if they're black. They believe if they're white. It's that simple. But they're not your representative. Why do you think I've been saying that for so long? They can't represent you. Because they don't know who the fuck they represent. They don't know what the fuck they stand up for. And the yellow gorilla with sky eyes got everybody thinking that he's gonna fucking save everybody. Can't even save himself from his harmful ways. The devil. Am I tripping? Am I wrong at all about what I've said on any level? Have I missed anything today? This is white heavy. They get to tell their story the way that they get to tell it, the way that they want to tell it. Let them keep telling lies to you. See the lies and listen to it. Perceive that they are lying to you for the whole sole purpose of embarrassing you, because they're truly embarrassed because they're not even humans. They don't have genetic constitution to the planet. They don't have historical genetic constitution to any of the major tribes that are marketed upon the earth that all people know of. And I'm talking about way older than the Chinese and all those guys aren't even as old as you guys think they are. But anyway, I won't even carried off of that. I'll just speak on the fact that the white people who we see every day are a perfected mutant, been allowed to breed with people that look similar to us. and are very much like us and are us. Redefining their genetics, rebreeding themselves with the best of the worst that they have, remaking themselves and redefining themselves over and over and over again for at least the last 1,500 years. This is why some of them have brown eyes, slightly curly hair that falls down still. That's why some of them have blue eyes, bushy curly hair. Some of them even have total recessive genetics. Yellow hair and sky eyes and curly hair. It happens. Right. They have been borrowing your people's genetics for such a long time. You have no idea. See, King Khan wants you to believe that they are the numbers that they are, but they're not. See, this is a funny thing that me and Andre used to say, and I'm not going to end on this, but trust me, this is a PowerPoint. See, your granddaddy was a nigger is a funny thing. It really is. Why do you think they used to say it to white men? Predominantly in the South. Your granddaddy was a nigger. Not your grandma. But your pappy. How'd that be? That was meant to be an insult. It is an insult. If you're wanting to be a white person and you're a tragic mulatto, quadroon or octoroon, and people know it, I'm a vicious ass dude. They don't want no peace. They want no peace. Trust me, they want no peace. Trust me, they want no peace. Their hair better be totally flat, eyes blue, and the color of their hair better be yellow or red. Not even red sometimes. Yellow, lellow. It better be all the way fucked up. It better be like my dad told me the other day. He said the craziest shit he ever seen. He said, son, I seen a man whose hair was one color, mustache one color, and beard another. He said, I had to watch this motherfucker, son. He said, because he looked too funny. He said, I ain't never seen nobody like him before or after. He said, motherfucker didn't even look human. Right. King Khan wants you to believe that they come from normal genetics. These white guy, I'm talking about a white dude. King Khan wants you to believe that they come from normal genetics. These motherfuckers produce human chimeras every day. Clubfoot, no arm fucking having motherfuckers every day. They birth them every day. You know why? Because they haven't been borrowing your genetics. Oh, you didn't know? You didn't know? They're imperfect by so many ways because they have those animal genetics. Right. Oh man, see, I can't even. Once again, I don't want these motherfuckers to dust me off, but I will say this much: fuck it. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. The reason why they have those funny ass built bodies is because these motherfuckers are. That look, if you tested them versus certain animals, I'm positive their DNA would come up like matching those animals. Like if you met like an ostrich, emu, what's the other big ass bird like that? Uh, uh, you guys know what I'm talking about too. That's the, what is it, man? It's the ostrich, the emu. What's the other motherfucker like that? Big ugly motherfucker. Anyway, the whole point is this: they're not even people. Not to me. Not most of them. I have to treat them like people because we've been conditioned to think they are. Right. King Khan has made us believe that they are humans, and they're not. Come on. King Khan didn't see this coming, did he? He just thought I was going to talk about mulattoes and mixed breeds. I give a fuck about them. I give two fucks about them. White heaven is full of people who don't even have normal genetics, and they know it, and they'll tell you this. Oh, you guys thought I was tripping when I made Ballad of Jonesy? No, I had to do that because I don't think anybody felt the grievance that I felt. Years of research about genetics and understanding how genetics truly work. I've been telling people that genes are the Bible, Genesis, and all that stuff for a long time, and then Gregor Mendel pops up, fucking Middle Earth thing, who had enough sense to say that yes, there's a such thing as dominance and recessiveness. They didn't establish this by themselves. They didn't even fucking know. They're mentally retarded for the most part. Literally mentally retarded. Have y'all ever dealt with them on a major scale? Ever? They're sick. They're sick and they're stupid. I tell them all the time that their faces are sick. When I had to go do my little evaluation when I was in the freaking hallway, I told them, I said, just like this, I said, do any of y'all know where these lights come from? I said, but before you answer, I said, did y'all all know that you're all sick? I said, who invented lights? The same stupid ass dude. Listen, the same stupid motherfucker that's interviewing me later on, right? I don't know he even got interviewing me. This punk ass faggot says Thomas Edison. Wow. I'm like, no, I told you you were sick, Lewis Lattimore. And then I went into this spiel and I broke it down to him. You know, this punk ass faggot tried to dismiss the fact that Aboriginals and the strange Negroes that we are different. He's like, oh yeah, okay. I'm like, wow, this guy is smoking crack fucking cocaine at a high rate. But that's what happens. I told him right there in the interview. I said, I told this dude to his face, I said, you have recessive genetics. I said, you got recessive hair, recessive eyes, and recessive skin. I said, you're just funny. And I said, don't be mad about it. I said, because your people established that. I said, go argue with the science. Told me I was the most disrespectful person he ever met with. Fuck him. Fuck King Khan with his bitch ass. You're gonna fucking try to gauge my competency and then tell me that I can't talk about the case? How the fuck is that competent? The only reason why I'm here is because of the case. That's fucking retarded, y'all. Do y'all see how sick and retarded they are? You see how stupid they are? Man, much love to you too, bro. It's all good, man. You be good, Steve. I'm phone one out. Well, look, I'm ready. SpongeBob time, never tripping. It's SpongeBob time in this bitch. People don't understand. It's a rough day when you have to deal with an entire group who's so hateful, so spiteful, that they'll say anything, do anything to get a perceived victory. And then when they lose, they only then do they have enough sensibility to say we made a mistake. But now they're about to die, and now you want to admit it. It's like, man, get the fuck out of here, you worn out ass faggot. Just a fucking piece of shit. Now you got AIDS. Now you want to be like, oh, I should have never did this. I should have never been like this. Fuck you. What this? You hear this motherfucker? Get the fuck out of here. That's King Khan. Okay? Want to tell you that right now, only 9% of black women marry out. Only 9%. Only 9%. Get that number into your fucking head for a second, dog, and glue it there. 9 fucking percent of them marry out, my niggas. Only 9. And you're telling me that they were fucking and sucking at will? They're black slave owners? And the punk ass fucking slave owners were able to make concubines out of all the fair. Man, get the fuck out of here. Take a chill pill somewhere if you believe that shit. Go sit in the back. Go sit in the back. Okay? Put that nigga in the back. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. It's an egregious thing. 22% of black men, right? Once again, the numbers don't lie. They bear it out. There's no way 50 years later, only 9% of black women are marrying out, right? But black women are the ones who've been doing this shit for forever. Man, get the fuck out. Sit your monkey asses down before I stomp all over your chest. Why do you think they had the Civil War? Because it was black mulattoes from black men who were taking over. Black quadroons, black octoroons that were taking over. Nigga. Better sit the fuck down somewhere. King Kong don't know nothing with his non-human ass. Birdman ass. Monkey man ass. Better sit his bitch ass down somewhere and sit the fuck in the seat and try to learn something today. I'm a teacher. I tries to learn them all the time, but they don't know nothing. Okay? They don't know nothing. And I got no time for a motherfucker who's been on earth longer than me, okay, trying to tell me some shit about something that I don't. If I told you that I don't know about it, tell me. But if I have an idea, go ahead and keep that reservation, okay? Because I've been here long enough to fucking get it. I told you guys King Kong was the one. They thought I was playing. Man, not playing. Not playing. Not playing. Because I came with the information. Indisputable information. Indisputable information. So any nigga can hate me. They can fucking go home and plan the attack on the crib. I don't give a fuck what they do. I'm going to tell you this right here, though. I know for a fact that when I see a white person, when I see one of these Middle Earth cave-dwelling motherfuckers, okay, the first thing I think is, do they have the issue that Sir Scribe pointed out years ago? The finest thing he ever did, his finest piece of work ever, was breaking down the fact that these motherfuckers lack protein on the levels in the body that regulate violence. And you think these dudes have a problem with raping somebody? Get the fuck out of here. Right. Right. They make white-looking things. The smartest of them stayed where they were supposed to stay, close to the mountains. Right. Over there in Europe. Because they knew better. Look at these guys in America now, hundreds of years later, feeling themselves, about to get absorbed like a fucking amoeba. Yep. It's happening. It's happened. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're out of here one way or the other. But I pray that the Most High gets back first, so that way they know that it was his hand that cast this shit upon them, because they thought that they were so smart. Punk ass motherfuckers. All of them. Every one of them. I told you that. Thomas Jefferson. Even though I didn't say Thomas Jefferson, I said that the 3/5 compromise, the Connecticut Compromise, the 3/5 deal, can you dig it? Based on the New Jersey plan, based on the Virginia plan, okay? Which was one said that, hey, people of a certain level of aristocracy will represent you in the Senate. And then another one said, no. Population of the state will do that. But northern states didn't have slaves like the southern states, so they would have lost. And the southern states didn't have the level of they didn't have that same aristocracy just yet. They were establishing themselves as a cotton tyrant. Thank you very much. And bartered your black asses. My black ass. Said you're 60 fucking % of a human being. And you think I believe anything that they're fucking laying down? I have to stress to you, I'm the nigga who threw that shit out there consistently for these niggas to catch wind and bite onto it, for them to really stress it like, right, he's right. He's right. They did only consider us 3/5 of the fucking human. Constantly reminding people. I've been doing this since I've been around YouTube. Constantly. You've never been a human to them. You've never had a soul to them. They gave you a soul. They gave you humanhood. And you think King Khan can tell me right now, based on the fucking numbers, where mulattoes come from? Huh? Where his real threat came from? Because black men were having babies with white women that could pass as white people? Shit that I've already explained to you, exposed to you with articles? Come on now. But you think I'm tripping? I know y'all don't think I'm tripping, but I know there's niggas who are gonna watch who think I'm tripping or who thought I was tripping. I'm trying to school these elementary ass niggas, y'all, because they're childish. I say to Jeff, my roommate, all the time, I'm childish for trying to do the shit that I do because I know it's childish. I know it is. This is pointless for me to even do this. But they don't even give a fuck because they're gonna take what they can take from it and milk it in a whole other way and make it something sick. Because they always mutilate the work that I do. They have an issue. They have an issue. They have an issue. They won't just say what it is. You got guys talking about, I'd make you cut your natural uniform off, your hair and your beard. I'd make you cut it off to fit in. Why? Because guys who have different hair texture and guys that don't grow very much facial hair or any at all, right on, now I have to make this dude feel comfortable? What? Or can we agree that black people are all different and they look a certain way because when they mix blood with one another, right on, you cancel out certain genetics or you amplify certain genetics. It's that simple. And King Khan can't tell you that because he don't fucking know. And if he does, listen, if he does know, he don't want to tell you. And why don't he want to tell you? Because that means that you're different. But he's been telling you for how long? You're all the same. Right. Years ago, I made Death of a Doctrine, putting on blast all black people aren't black. Met with an extreme amount of disapproval. However, it's always funny that I talked about how Farrakhan's daddy was a white man years ago and put Farrakhan on the ground. Met with so much disapproval. But now the things that I'm contending, people don't want to argue so much. They're like, no, maybe he's not tripping. Because even in my obscurity, they still have to watch to see what I'm saying because they know one thing for certain. He's not a college graduate. He's not a this, he's not a that. But he's not stupid. He's not stupid by a long shot. Not by a fucking light year is he stupid. They're afraid. And they don't want the piece of this that I have to give to them. There's reasons why I can't say everything because I don't even want these guys to formulate a bullshit, erroneous argument that I have to sit there and think and be like, okay, what are they really trying to say to break it all down? I can't give them everything that I have. If I give them everything that I have, then they're going to try to, once again, formulate a whole nother argument. They can't argue nothing that I put forth today will be contended against. I guarantee you. Most people don't contend anything I say anyway because I put enough time into actually researching what the fuck I'm talking about. But just in case they felt like it, the first hour and a half or whatever, full of research. While I have you guys' undivided attention, I'm gonna fuck you up one more time, like I've been messed up all day reading this stuff, and then I'm gonna show this to you. And I think I'm gonna be done because it has been an excellent journey, and I wanted King Khan to get his piece. Give me one moment. Here we go. I'm gonna make it bigger. Make sure enough for y'all to see this. That's okay. That's a decent size. Hold on. Thank you. Let's just hide this. A slave market in Atlanta, Georgia, 1864. But this is 1864, y'all. This is way into the fucking time frame of slavery. About to be over. It's already over. Okay? Anyway, come on. That's why there's no slaves there. Anyway, by 1836, Sarah Barnes had become something of an Alabama magnate. She owned a home, land, rental properties, 10 stocks in a local bank in Mobile, and enslaved 27 people. On the eve of her marriage to Dennis Welsh, Barnes drew up an antenuptial, which is a prenuptial agreement, a legal document outlining the terms of their union. In it, she stated that she would continue to have sole, entire, and exclusive use, benefit, and enjoyment of her property. All of the rent collected on her real estate holdings would continue to go to her, as would any potential wages earned by her enslaved people rented out for their for their labor. Stop right there. See how unhumble this woman is? Right on. She wants the benefit of having a man protecting her, but she doesn't want to actually give to this man what he deserves, which is everything. And that's the only thing I'm gonna say about that, and I'm just gonna read. All the rent collected on her real estate holdings would continue to go to her, as would any potential wages earned by her. Enslaved people rented out for their labor. Barnes engaged the trustee, Richard Redwood, to help her manage her holdings, but he was allowed to take action only if she delivered him written instructions, produced in the presence of six reputable persons and in the absence of her husband to be. She also reserved the right to make her own will, which was to be drawn up in the presence of four people, one of whom had to be a clergyman, then signed, sealed, and published so that Dennis could not change it in terms after her death. So that way Dennis could not change his terms after her death. Six reputable persons, a clergyman. What can account for Barnes exacting enumeration on her property rights and palpable worry about her future husband's meddling? She knew that when she married Dennis Welsh, she would become, in the parlance of the period, a femme covert or a covered woman. She'd lose the right to bring suit, make contracts, and own property. All of it, her small empire of fields and flesh, would become his. And losing her enslaved people, this would be the bitterest people. And losing her enslaved people, this would be the bitterest pill of all. Because in these people, so much of her wealth resided, and in the ownership of them, so much of her power. Her antenuptial agreement marked her refusal to give them up. This is a remarkable, appalling document. It is an archive of a woman who navigated a legal system designed to exclude her in a country where she wouldn't be able to vote for another 84 years. And yet, there was absolutely nothing feminist about this document, because while it may bear the imprint of a woman who broke the common law and gender expectations, it simultaneously exposes why she did so and whose experience. Barnes doubled down on slave ownership, embracing white supremacy as a means to overcome her disempowerment on the basis of gender. Her opposition to patriarchy and her subjugation of black people were one and the same. In fact, they were mutually constitutive. Barnes was not alone in using slave ownership to gain back some of the money and power allotted to her under patriarchy. The historian Stephanie E. Jones Rogers, They Were Her Property, White Women as Slave Owners in the American South, is a definitive account of how deeply invested white women were in the slave economy of the South. Jones Rogers' book is a, com- is a, con- is a compendium of the actions taken by white women to preserve the wealth they had in human flesh as theirs alone. It scrupulously dismantles any image of slave owning women as somehow less involved, less culpable than their male counterparts. Joan Rogers also makes a case for why these slave owning women were so motivated to protect their status as slave owners, and her answers have to do with the racial logic of capitalism. Recent studies of the economic of slavery have shown the plantations were financially unstable places, bankrolled on credit, often intractably in debt and subject to the perennial bust of the system of transatlantic capitalism, of which plantation slavery was a crucial part. For women, Jones Rogers argues, independent wealth represented a bulwark against the financial risk their husbands assumed when they played the speculative cotton market. Should all be lost, at least their money would be safe. So would their status as dominant people. Slave ownership provided white women as a mechanism for joining their male counterparts in the ruling class, which might otherwise have been closed off to them. Wealth and racial domination could get them there. Thus, they quite literally capitalized on their own whiteness to gain power, and they did so at the devastating and ongoing expense of black people and black women in particular. Stop right there. I want y'all to understand this right here. How many of these tragic mulattoes do you think did this shit? Keep reading. We're gonna read this. $50 reward, which would have been a shit ton of money back then. Runaway, ran away, or was stolen from me on Saturday before Christmas last. A Negro woman named Ann of black complexion, about 19 years, about 19 years old, pretty far, and been informed that she is at or near the plantation of Mr. Jordan's. Pretty far and advanced in pregnancy. There we go. I have been informed that she is at or near the plantation of Mr. Jordan, 4 miles from the Pensacola on Stage Road. Any person who will deliver her to the guardhouse in Mobile shall receive the above reward of $50. I have been informed that J.D. Humphreyville took her away from our residence and pretends he is her owner. The publics are cautioned not to trade for her, as the title to the said woman is in me alone, Elizabeth Humphreyville. So the white boy probably got her pregnant, but let's just keep it pushing. Her presence made the plantation a home. Her absence would have made it a factory, wrote the historian Ulrich Bonnell Phillips of Plantation Mistresses in 1918. In Phillips' account, white mistress assumed the double responsibility of tending to her white children and to her black charges as well. She worked with the never flagging constancy, served as her head nurse for the sick, taught morals and religion by precept and example. She was busy as the plantation's domestic manager and moral authority. Phillips' then influential account of the plantation household recapitulated the image of white mistresses promoted by the lost cause propaganda of the Reconstruction and Jim Crow South, that plantations were, and by and large, happy places, thanks in no small part to the kindness and civilizing influence of white women. Okay. White women used to beat little black babies to death, but they're civilized. The image of the kind, industrious plantation mistress has had a long life and representations of American slavery. It has bred a series of interrelated falsehoods, including the notions that mistresses were less physically violent toward enslaved people than their masters, and the myth that mistresses had secret alliances with enslaved women because they shared a similar kind of suffering under male dominance. This latter falsehood gained currency among women and feminist historians of the middle and later 20th century. I love this shit. I told you, King Khan, baby. I told you. I fucking told you, King Khan. And Farrar Scott and Catherine Clinton, for example, who prioritized the category of gender over that of race in examining power relations under slavery, some academics saw plantation mistresses as so constrained by patriarchy that they developed a more general critique of the subjugation of women, both white and black, even if women at the time couldn't speak about it. They were, the story went, silent abolitionists. Okay. They sound like greedy bitches to me, but I'm going to just keep it pushing. Historians and artists have been working to correct this false and sanitized view of plantation mistresses. And Jones Rogers, they were her property, is a part of this movement. Her study builds on the work of history, Thavolia Glymph, whose groundbreaking book, Out of the House of Bondage, 2008, showed that white women harassed, beat, maimed, tortured, and killed enslaved people with as much brutality and impunity as white men. Mistresses categorically sided with masters, not with slaves, especially when it came to administration of violence. Joan Rogers' work also aligns with the recent representation of slavery in popular media and historical fiction, which have revised their portrayals of white women as the myth of special feminine compassion has begun to be dismantled. Let me break something down right here. This is why they tried to say that, oh, they had a natural aversion to black men. The only reason why they were like that is because they were out there fucking and sucking these black dudes, okay? So they had to act like they hated them. But let me keep it pushing. Scarlett O'Hara of Gone with the Wind and Mary Epps of 12 Years a Slave, Joan Rogers continues to fill in the violent pictures set out by these revisionary, which is to say, accurate representations. She writes, for example, one woman who was elected to whip enslaved people with the nettle weed branch rather than the cowhide whip because the nettles burrowed under the skin and left a long lasting burn, but did not scar, and thus did not decrease the person's value. And herein lies the greatest innovation of Joan Rogers' books to show the power white women wielded over enslaved people reflected in horror, were reflected in horrific and violence extended into the economic structures of slavery. They engaged in brutal acts with the logic of the market in mind. Hers is the first book to isolate white women as economic actors in the slave system, and thus is the first to dismantle another long-standing myth about these women. They simply stood by these men conducted. They simply stood by. They simply stood by as men conducted the business of slavery. Each of the book's chapters take shape around a different economic theme, and some are titled with quotations by a formerly enslaved person who pointedly and summarily dismisses any false nation of a white woman's passivity. I belong to the missus. Mrs. done owned her bossing. Mrs. done her own bossing. That old man took delight in selling slaves. I love it. I love him. Because King Kong gonna tell the truth, baby, today. Taking her lead from these first-hand accounts, Joan Rogers then supplies volume, vol, volume. No, excuse me, I'm tongue-tied. Voluminous archive, a stunningly voluminous archive of legal documents, newspaper articles, advertisements, letters, diary entries, plantation ledgers, and records of sales, which she mobilizes against a century of received his history. Oh my goodness, I'm laughing so hard I gotta stop. Let me collect myself. Give me 2 seconds. Oh my goodness. I just love this shit. Because King Khan wants y'all to believe that white women ain't been doing the same shit that they've been doing for a long time. Right on. A racist white bitch will suck and fuck a black dude right now. Anyway, here we go. Taking her lead from these first-hand accounts, Joan Rogers then supplies a stunningly voluminous archive of legal documents, newspaper articles, advertisements, letters, diary entries, plantation ledgers, and records of sales, which she mobilizes against a series of received historiography. His, his, historiography. There we go. I love it. Private sales. Healthy, young, wet nurses. Wow! Wow! This shit is crazy. Capers and Heward offer at private sale a young and healthy wet nurse. For further particulars, apply at our office, Southside address Worth, June 7th. This is 1856. This shit is crazy. Even if it's saying that she just has breasts that are giving out milk, but I'm thinking it's something else. Anyway, one of these economic fictions is that white women, even if they own enslaved people, did not fully participate in buying and selling of them. Many have believed that public slave markets was the domain of men, assuming that gender codes of decency kept women out. Not only did white women appear at public auctions, where they participated in dehumanizing acts of inspecting black bodies, but the slave market often came to them. White women bought and sold enslaved people in their parlors, on their front porches. It is false, Jones Rogers explains, to separate the plantation south into private and public spaces. Households were the locations of slave markets too. Thank you. Jones Rogers also stresses the way in which white women strategically invested in the reproductive lives of black women and intervened in their sexuality for profit. The reproductivity the reproductive capacity of black women and the fact that the children inherited their legal status as free or enslaved from their mothers made many white women owners made what made many white women owners come to see black enslaved women as better investments. With each baby born, their wealth grew. White parents were thus more likely to give their daughters enslaved women and girls, and slave owning women made it a point to keep female slaves for their household. Joan Rogers documents a case where white women orchestrated the rape of their enslaved women and acts of forced breeding. She implies, too, that white women were often responsible for bringing enslaved girls into households where they were systematically raped by their male masters. A system Harriet Jacobs, an enslaved woman who lived under the sexual menace of her male master and the psychological torture of her female mistress, described it as ingeniously designed so that licentious, excuse me, licentiousness shall not interfere with avariceness. Let me see what this is. This fucking crazy ass word. I love it. I'm pretty sure I'm on the word. Yeah, lacking legal or moral restraints, especially disregarding. Yeah, it reminded me of lasciviousness for some odd reason. Shall not interfere with avarice. Don't know what that word is. Extreme greed or wealth for material gain. So, sex is not going to interfere with the money. Wow. Understand this right here. These are individual accounts. I'm going to give her little credit for speaking to whatever. But the reason why black women were valued, right on, is because just like white women were supposed to be valued or so-called valued, is because they bear children. Right. And a white chick who would give her black slave to white men, right? Or black men, let them be forcibly raped by black men, right? It speaks volumes on white women. But I need y'all to understand, these are the same white women that were fucking and sucking black men. These are the same white women that were fucking and sucking black men and giving them babies. The same fat white bitches. Let's keep it pushing. By the onset of the Civil War, white slave-owning women were so attached to the institution of slavery that they went to great lengths to keep their enslaved people in bondage. When enslaved people fled plantations during the war, women took out fugitive slave ads in newspapers, wrote letters to military officials, or appealed to male relatives for help in recapturing them. Some even hunted them down themselves. When they were unable to retake possessions, they appealed for compensations for their financial losses. Since the Emancipation Proclamation did not liberate people enslaved in border states that stayed loyal to the Union, Missouri, Maryland, Kentucky, Delaware, and later West Virginia, white women living in these states appealed to the U.S. government, not the Confederacy, for the return of compensation for their enslaved people, even after 1863. Some went to further extremes, uprooting and marching their enslaved people outside the Union's reach, called refugeeism, chaining them in cellars or locking them up in prisons to stop them from fleeing. These accounts highlight how desperate white women were to maintain legal and physical control of their enslaved people. This tells you why white women do black men the way that they do now. We'll buy this nigga everything, we'll get this nigga everything, and try to control this nigga. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I want you to understand. We're gonna read who Lynn Feely is, who is over here based in Seattle. I'm gonna break it down. These accounts highlight how desperate white women were to maintain legal and physical control of their enslaved people, even as a cataclysmic war over their right to do so unfolded. They had accrued great wealth and social standing, and they had done so by embracing white supremacy. Jones Rogers showed that white slave owning women in the South did not fight racial patriarchy because the system was open to them on the basis of whiteness. They joined it. They wouldn't let it go. They wouldn't let it go. They were her property. It is a story of white women attaining power, and the book makes it undeniably clear that there was nothing inherently feminist or liberatory about the mere fact of women gaining power. It reminds us that we must always ask, power of what kind and at what cost? Damn it, damn it, damn it. Lynn Feely is based in Seattle. Damn it, damn it, damn it. But you know, I'm a nigga. It gets down. Let's go ahead and end this out on Anne, our pregnant slave. I want y'all to see her picture one more time. And we're done. Her. This whole thing, for the most part. This is deep. Of course he married her with that prenuptial. What? What? He was a broke ass nigga with no money, Tammy. Come on, man. A broke ass white boy like a broke ass white boy today. Why you think you see white boys with black chicks today? Because the black chick got money. The black chick got money. She been working, been in college and all that shit, and she'll pay for this punk ass white boy. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? That's why. They don't want to hear it. King Khan don't want none. If King Khan want to get in the ring, he gonna get fucked up. He's already been killed once, twice, three, four. How many times we killed King Khan today? You know, but he died an innumerable amount of deaths. Innumerable amount of deaths. Right. I'm trying to tell y'all. I mean, don't let me break down the social shit. I told you guys I could teach Sigmund Freud a thing or two. And I'm not joking when I say, if he was alive, Sigmund Freud would love to have a conversation with your boy. I could have taught that man so much. He wouldn't have seemed like the weirdo he was. Could have normalized him. A lot of these cats who were supposed to be filthy. Adler, even the women, Horney, you know what I mean? So-called accredited people with the mind. So-called. But King Khan wants us to believe that, once again, black men didn't have sex with white women. White women didn't have to do with slaves. I love it. I love that's the last piece we get. That's the last piece we get. I've been going for a minute. I've been going for a minute. I know I've gone longer than this before, but I've been going for a minute. I'm gonna go for a little bit longer. Just freestyle time because I'm feeling good. I'm telling you, I'm feeling good. Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. There is something. Yeah, I am supposed to. Yeah, yeah. I need y'all to I need somebody to remember who what it is. I'm not remembering. I want a good one. The potion that took over. I need somebody to, you feel me? I can't go back and listen to it live time. So I'm gonna need somebody to go ahead and dig deep in those pockets and bunny air their pockets and remember, like y'all, that's what it is. You know, look for it because I'm not gonna find it. I know it's something. Uh, mm, I'm horrible. I know. I'm a dirty dog. I know. This is all my fault. I'm a dirty dog. Nah, see, right? See, it's just been going down. Let me give me a couple moments to just try to just remember. Mhm. White chicks, slave holding. Mm. Nope, it's gonna take me reviewing this video to remember. I'm on a good one right now. Sorry, totally apologetic, and I know it was something epic too. It just won't come to me. Maybe it wasn't that epic. Maybe I've already covered it, and I just don't remember. Maybe I covered it already, talking about it. Who knows? Knowing me. Uh, that's what I love about it, y'all. Because I'm myself. There's nothing to hide from me. Faded on a good one, but I'm still coherent. I'm just like, damn. Why can't I just can't bear it to mind. Uh, but this is one of those things. I was hoping somebody wrote it down, because I wasn't gonna write it down. I was not gonna write it down because I already know me. Uh, what else is there though, y'all? King Khan and this horrible, horrible contraption that we're in. We are in a vicious, vicious system. I commend all of my black people for being the best they can be at all times. I commend you even more for when you stay alive until the Most High calls us all home or sends us to the lake of fire. I don't know what's gonna happen with people. I pray we make it. I'm not worried about nobody else. Our little unit over here, I'm praying we all make it. I'm praying we're all the one from the city, one of the two from the family. I'm praying that's all of us. I'm sorry. I know y'all love people. I know y'all care about people. I'm worried about my salvation first and foremost. Well, I broke it down today. If you didn't understand, white women like them because black men used to feed them, clothe them, house them when they first got here, knew everything. White men couldn't compete. But the women that they were willing to give up were normally the women that they found undesirable. And then their desirable women, obviously, were giving themselves to black men. They found that undesirable. And this is when the hatred really kicked off. But that's not talked about. That's not spoken of. Because right, when the black man made daughters with the fat white woman that were pretty, now the white man has a woman that he can force himself on. I need to honestly understand how the shit goes, man. This shit is so deep. Once again, to break it all down in one session is like literally impossible. It's impossible. But King Khan I gave him what I could give him. You know what I mean? You know, I think he needs to stand an eight. I think somebody needs to go over there and give that bitch ass nigga a standing eight right now. You feel me? Because he's fucked up in the corner. All right, he is fucked up over there in the corner. I put it in on him today, and I feel good about it. I feel excellent about it. It has been. This has been probably the best day I've had. Shit, months. I when I tell y'all I felt good today. I slept good. I ate good. I drank good. Smoked good. Yes, been a good day. It's been a good day. Come on, put it in today. Taking care of my people like I'm supposed to. I'm gonna go see my little nephew tomorrow. Make sure he's all right. Did I ever tell you guys my nephew's name? His name is Sir King. If I never told y'all that, I'm telling y'all now. I'm pretty sure I've told that before though. His actual name is Sir King. My nephew's name is Sir King. Syrking. Sir King. I love my brother for naming his son Sir King. Like this. Hold on a moment. Right. My brother's wild, right? I know, right? I know. I'm like, my brother was on some good Doja that day. This nigga thought of the most epic name. I told my dad, like, like we were talking. He was like, yeah, back in the slavery days. Yeah, just like that, bro. Just like that. Just like that. Just like that. This guy is funny, man. Christopher Brian Hoggett deserves a standing ovation for that one because uh, that's a man. You can't avoid calling the dude Sir King. What? That's his name. Wow, how fucking epic. So yeah, and these niggas don't even know. There's niggas on YouTube don't even know. I got a nephew named Sir King, right? On they be like, well, he ain't no king. Ah! And it's like, bro, his name is gonna make him want to go hard. His name is gonna make him want to be like a king, if that's even possible. King Lee, I guess, right? That's the mentality of my brother, and I understand because white people have oppressed us so long that my brother's like, I'd rather my son be a fucking writer. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Than be a chump and lay down on his back. I love you guys so much. I really do. It's much appreciated. It has been an epic one. Epic. Epic. It has been epic. Nobody has to, feel this one. That's right. you guys, you guys are so funny. I love it. You guys are so funny. This is one of those things where like I had to share that just in case I didn't share it. And I'm like, let me share that again just in case I did. I love that little boy's name. I love my little nephew. I love his name. Love his name. Love his name. And Sir King is mixed. His mom, like an octoroon or quadroon chick, right on. My brother, a nigga. Right. And people want to try to tell me that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Anyway, my son. Wow. Once again, niggas don't even want to listen to what I'm trying to say, though. Even though I was supposed to avoid this path and avoid this road, I'd rather throw me under the bus and throw me under the truck and throw me under the train. You feel me? So that way you understand. And it's not like, oh, I have a natural aversion to hating white people. I just don't fuck with white people. And when I say aversion, right on, I also mean affinity in the same word. I'm an asshole like that because I know what they really mean because they're fork tongued devils. Right on. Oh, you think none of those white slave owner women had children with black men? Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Enough. Enough. You think those same white women who had daughters by black men didn't offer the same mulatto, quadroon, whatever type daughters to white men to gain favor and status in society? Okay. King Khan can keep motherfuckers on the leash. I broke out the backyard a long time ago. Humane Society been looking for my black ass. Okay, all right. They been looking for my black. They ain't gonna find me. They ain't gonna find. It's gonna take more than an elephant tranquilizer to get me down. I'm sorry. I'm amped and I'm on a good one. My brothers and my sisters, I will take up no more of your time. It has been a journey today. We have learned so much together. We have had many good laughs. I love laughing with you guys. You know what I'm saying? I love enjoying myself with y'all. It is always an honor. As I say that, I salute you. At the end of the salute, the broadcast is over. So when I get done talking, just know that it has been a gracious and great day. I love y'all. Good night.